Good morning, Rays. KJ here. Today is day 16 in testimony of the Lori Daybell trial. Nate Eaton is reminding us that if you tack on an extra week of that for jury selection in voir dire, it is day 21 of the Lori Vallow Daybell trial, and we're back in the courtroom. We ended yesterday with the defense playing a podcast Lori recorded with Melanie Gibb and others in 2018. And I hope all of y'all had barf bags available when you hear this wench talking about Jesus Christ gave her a mission. What, to murder children? I don't think so. Chad Daybell's neighbors completed their testimony, so we expect to have a new witness on the stand first thing this morning. And I put a poll out there, y'all. Will Melanie Pulowski or Ian Pulowski, will they testify? What? Who the heck knows, right? I think we got more people saying who the heck knows than yes. Not many said that she wouldn't be testifying. And Lori has entered the courtroom, y'all. Lori has entered the courtroom. She's wearing a navy blue long sleeve shirt with a navy polka dot puffer type vest. Oh, I wonder if John Thomas or Archie, the one, went shopping for her and got her the navy polka dot puffer type vest. Somebody needs to knock that woman into next week. Defense attorneys and prosecutors are at their tables. Good morning, John Shepard, MM, Adam B, Just Looking, Stacey Hanlon, Beach Bum. Is it late there, Beach Bum? Danny B, Renee, Estella Patella. Hadn't seen you in a while, Estelle. Dog Mom, Stephanie SG, Rita Lou, Beverly, Carrie Ann, Stephen Shim, Chris Arnett, Vicky McNutt, Jean Anthony, Debbie Bukes, Harley 62, Melissa Krantz, Marsh Somerville, Dog Mom, Terry Ward, Daughter of Scotland, Dottie Roberts, Marcy Tarana, Jill Bell, Bonnie, Nita Smith, Jay Hughes, Donna Donald, Nadine Hanson, Nicole Robinson, Amy in Boston, K-Tech, Jet Set J, Marilyn and Jill Schneider, Alley Cat, C Peeps, Dorothy, Dyer's on Fire, THX, Sugar Buck Starbus, Sugar Butt Starburst. Y'all, them names are hard to say, but OKJ's giving it a whirl anyway. Valerie Merle, Artie and AC, Stacy Cox, Just Three Goldens, Not So Resting, RBF, Becky Slaughter, Erica Guajardo, Love Blanc, Candace Parr, Sheila Forrest, It's Just Robbie, Sarah Ann, DD Sunshine, CC Johnson 67, Sue Chica, Sandra Jack. Y'all, I want you to know something. Today is more than just another day of testimony. Today is a very important day, really. Cresha K. Easton of Difficult Research, y'all. You can find her on YouTube. The aunt of J.J. Vallow. Her mom and dad are Larry and Kay Woodcock. And Charles Vallow is her uncle. It's her birthday today. So I put a post up on the community wall for Cresha. I was going to put a picture of her, but I thought, well, how many times has OKJ told Cresha, come to Tennessee, come to Tennessee. I'll spoil you rotten. We'll do it to it. And so I gave her a reminder along with greetings for her birthday. She knows I love her. I hope all of y'all will wish her a happy birthday, whether it's on her community wall, subscribe to her channel, put it on the community post here where we have put this, I guess what you'd call a little screenshot of the peacefulness of Tennessee. So anyway, Cresha, we love you. You're strong, you're powerful in a lot of good ways. Not none of these people out here that were seeking power to destroy lives. You have always said it. Love always wins. And Cresha K. Easton, I love you and happy birthday. So anyway, the bailiff reminds everyone to turn off their phones and not eat in the courtroom. All the attorneys have left the courtroom to meet with Judge Boyce. Lori remains at her table with her back to the audience as she skims through a huge stack of papers. And I imagine those big stack of papers has guilty written all over it, because the testimony that we've gotten in the last couple of weeks is damning, absolutely damning. And I'll tell you something, Lori and Chad both, they wanted to be together. Well, they had a little short, little fantasy, little role playing there for a while there in Hawaii and stuff. But the bottom line is they're never going to be together again. Neither one of them has filed for divorce, although I'm sure both of them are pointing the finger at each other. The bottom line is if you think that your husband and Alex murdered your children and you didn't know before, after, and you wasn't the principal, then you'd be filing divorce papers. You had 2 years to do it, Lolo. And Chad, on the other hand, Lori and Alex did all this. Why ain't he getting a divorce? Huh? I mean, it's pathetic. It's so damn pathetic. Yes, everybody let Crescia know how much she's loved. Think about this, y'all. Just let this sink in. Crescia is in Boise, Idaho with Larry and Kay Woodcock. It's her birthday. I'm sure she misses Jason and her kids, but she's there because she wants to see justice done. And I'm so proud of her. And I'll tell you something. It is her birthday today, and it's not time today for a conviction, but it's coming. It's damn well coming. Good morning, Dana Goper. Everybody, wish Crescia a happy birthday. She is absolutely the best of the best. Yeah, it is. It is. It's piling up. It's piling up on old Lolo. Yes. Roxy, my birthday's already happened. The Rays and I celebrated my birthday. I turned 52. As I grow older, I get better. And all of these people on here that think when you get older that maybe you're not as, I don't know what adjectives to use, but I'll tell you something. I look forward to growing older every day. Yes, my life has to change a bit from 20 years ago and what I'm able and not able to do, but wisdom is a gift, and it comes with experience. And most of the demographics on this channel are older women, although there's some men on here and there's some younger people too, which I really absolutely love everyone, no matter your age. But these older women have helped old KJ get justice through understanding. I'm very blessed that they came onto this channel to help me along and educate me and share their experiences with me. And we can't all experience the same thing, but if we could, right? Say our lives were carbon copies. Everything that's ever happened to old KJ is exactly what happened to you. Well, guess what? You might have taken it different. You might have seen it different. So, it's just really a miracle for every moment that we live. And although we have a wide-ranging amount of belief systems in this world, OKJ says it, and I'll say it till the cows come home. I've only got one life, and I'm going to live it. And I'm so thankful that I was able to have all of you included in that. I'll never forget you. I'll always love you, and I'll always be loyal to you. So anyway, we're waiting on Judge Boyce because Judge Boyce is back there with the attorneys. Paula says, I'll be 71 in September. Heather Strock says, I'm 45. Heather Fowler says, I'm almost 45. Danny B says, I'm 54. Oh, y'all, we've got such a wonderful array of people on here. And the cool thing is OKJ don't toot no horns and don't do the bells and whistles stuff when I say to you, in your lifetime, and even back in ancient times, all the way up to the future, long after you've left this earth, you, absolutely you, are the only you're ever going to be. All right? That's a fact. That is the truth. Chris Arnett says, I'll be 48 in June. April Gans says 56. Arkansas White Dove, I think, said 68. Well, let everybody know. Be proud. Be proud of who you are and what age you are. Let everybody know. 39. Lollipop Guild. I remember when I was 39 years old. Boy, those were the days. Everything under 52 years of age, if I sat down and told y'all every year of my life that I could, as far back as I can remember, I'd say probably in my 20s, late 30s, well, not late 30s, early 30s, I was hell on wheels. And some of the things that I involved myself in probably would make the hair on the back of your neck stand straight up. But I'll tell you what, we go through these ebbs and flows in life. We go through these ups and downs. We learn lessons, hopefully. Some of us need to learn that lesson several times before we're like, the hell with this. I've learned it. I'm moving on. Florida Frost says, I'm 66 and I'm loving life. You know, you got a choice, folks. I mean, I get it. We all have things in our life that we wish were better. Or maybe we've made mistakes or we're in the middle of some serious stuff. But the bottom line is unless you can do something about it, in terms of what you're stressed out or depressed about, you can do one thing, and that is try to do your best to be content in whatever circumstance you're in. Because the bottom line is unless you can change it, you can absolutely shit all over your day if you want to. That's your choice. And I've learned that because hey, to this day, I'm a mama. I've got 3 grown sons. And there are times that I still have that, that mother worrying thing in there. You know, my son, CJ, just bought a freaking street bike. And I'm thinking, well, can I go to bed at night, lay my head down on a pillow and think, oh, what if he gets in a wreck? What if somebody hits him? What if something happens to him? Well, folks, it hadn't happened. And I've got to give it, and this is how I do it. I give it to God because worry to me is a sign of lack of faith. And I've got to dang do it. And trust me, it's not easy. I fall on my face all the time. Every damn day. Every damn day. But I keep picking myself up and moving forward. I'm trying, y'all, for them to get this started, but there's still, the attorneys have left the courtroom to meet with Judge Boyce. So I'm assuming that what they're doing is they're laying out how they're going to do things today. You know, the state would say, well, Judge, I've got this witness. I'm thinking it might take 30 minutes to an hour or whatever. Just looking, you have 12 grandbabies. Well, OKJ ain't had a grandchild yet. And I've been wanting one so bad to raise. No, I've told them to pray for me. I prayed about it. Well, let me borrow a few of yours. I'll spoil them rotten. I get knocked down, but I get up again, and they're never going to keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again, and they're never going to keep me down. Pissing the night away. Pissing the night away. Y'all get me started on this. Yeah, Gene P, he's got a full face helmet and he's got one of those half ones for spring and summer. His birthday's coming up beginning of June. I'm looking at like leather riding jackets for him. But I'm afraid to purchase one because those suckers are expensive without him saying, yeah, I would wear that. So it's almost like now I can't even surprise him. Well, Valerie Moore, all of you are so great. It's just the bottom line. Four Smurfs 21 says, I have one grandson. Adam V says, I trust Boyce. I think he's doing well. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, I'll tell you, Adam V., the bottom line on that is there's things about Judge Boyce that shifted, in my view. As many of the Rays know, I was in his corner as the administrator of justice all this time, and here he goes, severing the cases, and then allowing the death penalty to be taken off the table for Lori. It just absolutely sired me on that. But in terms of how he's conducting his courtroom right now, I don't like these long breaks and these long lunches and these days off. But if you put all that aside, I think he's doing pretty darn good. I think he is staying most busy with John Thomas, who wants to object and doesn't know why he's objecting, pretty much. So, you know, it is what it is. Oh, gosh, there it goes, y'all. KJ's saying it is what it is. Okay, y'all. Attorneys have entered the courtroom, and Boyce is now on the bench. Y'all, let's hope we get some good testimony today. We got good testimony yesterday. This Alice and Todd Gilbert, I mean, you know, that opened up the door right there to us peering in. You know, we thought, wow, before we heard from them or knew anything about them, I don't know about the Rays, but I was thinking, wow, Chad and Lori got married so quickly. But when they got married, it was the time in there before they got married that really kind of just filled in those pieces for me. I don't know how somebody goes from knowing this couple, Chad and Tammy, all this time, and the next thing you know, Lori's walking through the damn door, sashaying like a hooker. The bottom line is I'll tell you what, if I had a good friend, Tammy, and she passed away and I went to her funeral and about a week later, her husband come walking through the door with another woman, I'd say, turn your ass around. I'm still grieving. I'm still grieving over my friend Tammy. That's what I would do. Well, I'll tell you what, y'all. That's one thing to talk about John Thomas, but Archie got his way yesterday. He did. He absolutely did, playing 40 minutes of that bullshit podcast of Lori and Melanie Gibb and Thor and Jason Mao. Give me a break. Give me a break. That woman, nothing she said in that 9 minutes that Lori Hussey Daybell talked in that podcast, there ain't nothing of what she said adds up to what has happened. Norma says, get out of my house. Kale says, the fussy hussy. Quite contrary says, Boyce acts like he doesn't want to be what? He doesn't want to be bothered? Shoot, I'm sorry, I missed that. These, I don't put slow mode on because I don't like it. And, which by the way, if you see any bots, if you see any crappy comments, just ignore it, block it, or report it, please. And Ray's in here. If you see anyone asking questions that you know the answers, please help OKJ out. Now, jurors are being brought in, y'all. And Larry and Kay Woodcock are in the courtroom today. Audience seats are packed. And many are watching from the overflow locations in the Ada County Courthouse and Madison County Courthouse in Rexburg. Y'all, it's packed in there. Could this mean we're fixing to get some blockbuster testimony from Melanie niece, Lori's niece, the one who was the Malachite woman, the one who absolutely was there the whole time. She didn't really have a good reason for telling Nate Eaton and this other reporter after Chad and Lori took off to Hawaii why she didn't see her own family members, JJ and Tylee, as she lived next door. Bring this on, says Daughter of Scotland. Well, I'm trying. This is one method of going through this trial, y'all. Another one is that obviously we've got to hear the audio. We've got to hear the audio that will come out later on tonight. Butterbean says pins and needles. Pins and needles, y'all. So, yes, Adam B. Yeah, here we go. Adam B's repeating it, y'all. The attorneys have entered the courtroom. Again, y'all, Larry and Kay Woodcock are in the courtroom, and the audience seats are packed. So I'll tell you, the jurors are being brought in, y'all. I'm telling you, I just have this feeling. I have this feeling down in my gut, that gut feeling, Rays. I have this feeling we're fixing to hear something really interesting. Good morning, Birdie. I'm excited to find out who the witnesses are today, says Diane C. Oh, y'all. And then you got Heather Strock going, Mel P, Mel P, Mel P. Come on, Vicky McNutt says, come on, Melanie P. Right, Erna Aspich. I don't think Nate can type word salad. Good point. Oh my goodness, y'all. Prosecutors call Audrey Barterio as their next witness. What do you think of that, Tina Reddington? Audrey Barterio's coming in, Tina. You got your Canadian dry ginger ale ready for you, honey? All of y'all know what I'm talking about. Audrey Barterio. Let's see, y'all. And for those that don't know this, the defense did not want this woman to testify when they had that pretrial hearing about what would be entered in discovery, whether late or not. Oh my goodness, y'all. This is, the daily book dose is going, well. Oh, who is she, says Nita Smith. Well, Audrey Barterio is the one that is listed as the one who can alibi Lori in Hawaii. And God only knows what else Audrey Barterio knows. What is she doing in Hawaii with Lori, huh? What do y'all think? This will be interesting, says Tina Reddington. Could get interesting, says Tessa K. OMG, says Olive. Oh, y'all, this is going to be good. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Let's ride, says Julie Thompson. Oh, my goodness, y'all. You just wait. For those that don't know who Audrey Barterio is, we're going to get some good testimony out of this woman. And I think this goes right in line, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, where Melanie Pulaski and Ian will come in later on today. I think, Heather Strock being her alibi. Lori went to Hawaii every time there was a death, says Daughter of Scotland. Give us something to celebrate, says Vicky McNutt. Oh, y'all, every day that they have nailed another nail in that damn hussy's coffin has been a day of celebration for old KJ. Now, Fremont County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Tanya Rollins is questioning Audrey. Audrey lives in Missouri and was a friend of Lori's. They met at a conference in 2018. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Lori went up to Missouri too. So Audrey has spent more time with the damn hussy. Yes, Terry Ward, this is going to be good. It's going to be good. That's interesting, says Sharon. Oh, are you serious? She's a size 00? I don't think so. I know, you're probably right, but Lori, she ain't no size 00 in my opinion. She might be an 8 or a 6. Now listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Audrey stayed at Lori's house at the end of the conference in November of 2018. Zulema, Chad, and Melanie Gibb were also at the home, y'all. Does those names sound familiar? They're called, y'all, the Inner Circle. Rollins asked Audrey if she observed Lori and Chad together. And Audrey says yes and no. I observed every once in a while they looked at each other. There was a vibe. A vibe? No. They were looking at each other trying to get horny. That's what they were doing. Come on, y'all. They were looking at each other, sizing each other up, using their eyes to undress each other because they were horny. That's what I say. I don't care. Y'all, this is my view. Everybody else might have a different view, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm not stupid. There ain't no damn love in this. It's all about lust. It's about doing the dirty, bumping uglies. Come on, y'all. Audrey next had contact with Lori in February of 2019, and y'all know this is when it really starts to pick up about Lori wanting to be with Chad and all this. Chad asked Audrey to be Lori's friend. So it was Chad Daybell who approached Audrey and says, be Lori's friend. He asked me to be her friend and that she needed a friend. He said that he couldn't talk to her all the time and that maybe I could be someone to uplift or be a friend to her. And I said, okay. And you know why Chad Daybell couldn't talk to her all the time? Because he's got a wife and kids. He's got a wife at home. And yes, we know through the empirical facts that Lori and Chad had a special phone. Lori had a special phone for when Chad wanted to call her. And we also know, according to Charles Vallow's email, that Lori started sending these provocative dance videos at Chad's request to him. I'm sure he was sending her pictures of his little itty bitty gherkin. The Bethy Boop says Lori didn't like anyone. I'll tell you something. Lori was jealous of any other female, even her own daughter. She was jealous of everyone. If everyone wasn't looking at Lori, the bottom line is she didn't know how to be a real friend to anybody. She just, whenever she'd do something for a friend, that was for her own benefit to look good. Audrey says she spoke with Lori every few weeks on the phone. We talked about more spiritual things, not as much about things going on in our personal lives. They saw each other in person in the summer of 2019 at a spiritual-based event in Utah. And y'all, is there some kind of just a continuation every day? Every one of these people involved in this? Oh, we didn't, we talked about spiritual things, but they never go into this detail. I mean, I'm curious to know if Serena Sharp, Christina Atwood, and Nicole Earle are going to go on the stand. And even if they do, are they just going to use the terms spiritual things? Or are they going to also be like Zulema, Melanie Gibb, and all them that really don't really get into, we were actually doing this? It's always some distance in all of that. So if we're looking at summer of 2019 at a spiritual-based event in Utah, it doesn't specify whether Charles Vallow's been murdered yet. I'm assuming this was before his murder, because his murder happened July 11th of 2019. That's summer. So I'm not sure yet. I'd have to get that into context. Right, Heidi's mind, spiritual evil. Yeah, Candace Parr. Look how holy we are. Look how elite we are. We're so much better than everybody else. Stephen Shim, this is Audrey Barterio. She is someone that Chad Daybell asked to be Lori's friend. Excuse me. So Audrey Barterio is from Missouri, and she was speaking with Lori every few weeks on the phone. And then they saw each other at Lori's with Melanie Gibb and Zulema and basically the inner circle. Don't y'all find it interesting that Jason Mao, being I guess a male, he's telling Lori that she needs to get in touch with Melanie Gibb, and now it's Chad wanting Audrey Bartell. It's like these men are positioning these chess pieces around to their liking. Audrey was living in Utah at the time of the conference. Lori stayed in a hotel. Audrey spent time with Lori, Zulema, Melanie Gibb, and some other woman she didn't know. And I'm sure that's Julie Clement. Could be. I'm not saying that's for sure. At the end of being there, Lori brought up wanting to work on her husband at the time. So Lori's bringing up, I want to work on my husband. Well, I'll tell you what, woman, do what most people do. Take your ass to a marriage counselor. Don't be bringing all these crazy-ass women together to try to act like, oh, I see him. The fire, Zulema, send the fire. Give me a break. That's why she brought that up, because that was something she was doing herself. So it was Lori who's doing this stuff herself, because Rollins asked what that means. And Audrey Bartell says sometime close to that time, when I had seen her again, she all of a sudden, out of the blue, brought up all of this stuff about zombies and people being possessed. I hadn't heard of that before and had no basis for that. So Audrey is saying that Lori, that's why she brought that up, because that was something she was doing herself. Lori was doing this, y'all. Now, some might say, okay, Jay, Chad had already told her all this stuff. Well, folks, let me tell you, Lori was absolutely radicalized before she got with Chad, in my opinion. So again, let's just sum this up. At the end of being there, says Audrey, Lori brought up wanting to work on her husband at that time. And then Rollins asks her, well, what's that mean? And she says, sometime close to that time when I had seen her again, she all of a sudden, out of the blue, brought up all this stuff about zombies and people being possessed. And I hadn't heard of that before and had no basis for that. That's why she brought that up, because that was something she was doing herself. So just to repeat for emphasis. Mo had Lori first, then got tired of crazy Lori and handed her off to Chad. Kathy Barella says. Yeah, right, somebody. Common sense. She's here, Audrey Bartell's hearing all this, and yet she still goes off to Hawaii with him? Good point. Audrey says she was uncomfortable, y'all, with what Lori was saying. Lori first told Audrey about this on the phone a few weeks earlier, and then again at the conference. Audrey says she brought up saying she wanted to work on trying to get a negative spirit out of Charles. Everyone started holding hands, and I didn't know what they were doing. Sounds like Melanie Gibb, don't it? I thought maybe there was going to be a group prayer or something. So they all held hands, so I joined hands as well, thinking there would be a prayer. Then she started talking and said she was going to try and get a spirit out of Charles. Lori was saying things like knives, fire, weapons. And Ray's, do y'all remember Melanie Gibb in her last police interview saying, we got in a circle, but it wasn't icky or anything. It wasn't, nefarious. We just got in a circle. Well, here we got Audrey Bartell saying, Lori's saying knives, fire, weapons. Melanie Gibb is a lying little hussy. For her to tell police that, she sat in that interview and lied. There was nothing yucky about the casting. It wasn't nothing dark. Well, y'all tell me what. How in the hell can you say something in dark when you're saying knives, fire, and weapons? Give me a break. Give me a break. She is Vic's Tex, Melanie Gibb is a damn accessory. Audrey didn't say anything when it was her turn in the group. She left afterwards because she did not feel comfortable. She kept in touch with Lori on the phone. Well, if she's so uncomfortable, and if this is stuff that she and her religion doesn't believe in, what the hell is she still talking to Lori on the phone? Audrey shares she first met Chad at a conference at St. George, and she'd read 3 of his books. 2 months after she met him at the conference in 2018, Chad reached out to her on Facebook. Audrey responded and asked him some questions about his books. And isn't this what Melanie Gibb was talking about? That Chad reached out to her and told her, hey, I'm coming to Arizona. Do you want to help me with this conference and all this stuff? The bottom line is Chad was using his little itty-bitty gherkin as a freaking damn one of those metal detector deals on these women, basically. He was trying to get his harem together. I mean, that's just my view. Gene P says, lies, lies, lies. Right. CIM, group prayer, question mark. More like a demonic seance. And y'all, really, these things, remember, Rays, we talked about it, when this trial would start, things would start to fall into place. When you've got Melanie Gibb saying that to police in her last interview, it was April of 2021, that it wasn't nothing ooky, it wasn't nothing dark. Give me a break. Chad and Audrey then started to talk on the phone. She began chatting with Lori on the phone about religious things and spiritual experiences. Audrey recalls talking to Lori about her move to Rexburg. Audrey says, a few times in the fall, I asked her how her daughter was doing. When I stayed in her house in November of 2018, I met her daughter for a few minutes. So in the fall of 2019, I asked every once in a while about Tylee. Audrey says that she asked Lori, how's Tylee doing? Because she was at college. Lori said she doesn't talk to me much these days. Now, let's just repeat that. Audrey Bartell is asking Lori how Tylee's doing, and Lori says that Tylee doesn't talk to her much these days. First of all, Tylee's murdered. Number 2, could Audrey have known Tylee was already dead? And Lori's like, yes, Tylee's body's been released. And she visits me. You know how Chad was saying that Tammy visits him and his children? I don't know, y'all. At this point, I don't know. These people are nut jobs. So Lori is telling her this. In fall of 2019, Audrey's asking Lori how's Tylee doing because she was in college. So Audrey must have been told by Lori that Tylee was in college. And Lori says she doesn't talk to me much these days. And that would have been the go-to for Lori on there on out if that welfare check wouldn't have happened. She'd have told everybody, oh, Tylee's got her own life now. Audrey met JJ once and met Tammy once. Chad spoke to Audrey about Tammy and said he had a near-death experience years before when he was told by a deceased relative that Tammy would pass away before she turned 50. This was around the end of January of 2019 or February of 2019. Chad told Audrey he felt he would get married again. He didn't tell Audrey for a while who he would marry, but eventually said it was Lori. Now let's stop for a minute because this has popped into old KJ's head. We know for a fact that Chad Day, at least till back 2015, way before meeting Lori, he was telling people that Tammy was going to die at a young age. In this situation, he's telling her before she turned 50. Folks, if Chad Daybell wanted people to believe that he could see beyond the veil, that he was some kind of freaking head of the 444,000, he had to make that come a reality. He had to make it come to a reality. Yes, Tammy could have turned 50 or 51, and he could have told him, well, agency, something's changed. These cult leaders, they always move the goalpost every time. Audrey said Chad told her that he had spoken to Tammy about his vision plan to get remarried. Chad told Audrey he had been Methuselah and the Apostle James. Chad indicated Lori and Chad had been married during the time he was James the Apostle. Lori's name, y'all, was Elena. Oh, Rays, do y'all remember James and Elena, huh? How James and Elena, after the conference, how they would go to hotels and they would experience the power of their spiritual, sexual nature, the brushing up against Lori's breast, and all that stupid, ignorant stuff. Y'all know it, James and Elena. It was a new thing for Chad. See, he wanted to have that role playing. He wanted to have that kind of sexual prowess with his queen, Lori. And this whole bullshit that Chad told Audrey that he had spoken to Tammy about his vision, plan to get remarried. The bottom line is that Tammy was very close to her sister Samantha, and she would have said something to her sister. Don't y'all think? Oh, Tammy's walked around all these years with Chad telling her, you're going to die, Tammy, and I'm going to get remarried. No wonder the woman was on Prozac, if in fact that's really what happened. I'll tell you something right now. This old girl from Tennessee, if my husband came to me and said, I've seen it, KJ, you're going to die at a young age, and I'm going to get remarried, you know what I'd do? I'd pack up my damn suitcase and I'd say, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. If I'm going to die young, I'm going out here, I'm going to have me one hell of a life, and the hell with you. That's what I'd have done. That's what I'd have done. Audrey moved to Missouri, and in October of 2019, Lori asked if she and her niece Melanie could come to see church historical sites. Audrey says they said they had some free time and wanted to see the church sites. They had never seen them before. And guess what, y'all? Lori and Melanie Pulaski's wanting to go see church sites. Well, why ain't Melanie P asking Lori, hey, we're going to go see some historical church sites. Why not JJ and Tylee go along with us? Huh? Because the kids were already murdered in Chad's backyard. It's sick. Lori and her niece, Melanie Pulaski, wants to go visit historical sites, knowing Lori at least, and I believe Melanie P knew they were gone. But the bottom line, we know Lori knew, and she's wanting to go to this organized religion's sacred sites. Give me a break. Audrey met up with Melanie and Lori. They went to the temple, and the Adam Andi Aman, if I'm saying that right. Lori and Melanie also went to Liberty Jail. Liberty Jail, huh? Does the Rays remember when Wayne and I went to Idaho last January and we went to that old prison over there? And I said, this ain't like those modern ones, but this is somewhat like it. Well, maybe Lori had a premonition. Maybe she knew she was going to be in jail one day. She just didn't know it or accept it. Does anybody have any information? Because I've never heard this before. This Liberty Jail. Maybe some of y'all know what that is. Audrey says Lori told her, when someone has a zombie, they're possessed and need to be taken out. Chad had an idea that if someone was light or dark, it was based on whether they were predominantly good or bad. Really, Curly Shirley? Sources say that Chad told Audrey that they'd been married in a different life. Does that surprise anyone? So anyway, Lori told Audrey her husband, Charles Vallow, was dark, and later on said JJ and Tylee were dark. There you go, y'all. Melanie Gibb wants to talk about, they never brought up JJ and Tylee, maybe Brandon and Tammy in these castings. And OKJ said to y'all, I said they talked about all of them. Everyone that got murdered were talked about. She also said Tammy was dark. Lori said one of the two of Melanie's children were also dark, y'all. Can you believe this shit? Lori and Melanie Pulaski are head up there in Missouri visiting these historical sites. And also Audrey is confirming that Lori's already told her niece that Melanie Pulaski's two children are dark. Y'all, if this situation with this welfare check wouldn't have happened, these cult members would have continued to murder these children and other innocent people. Can y'all believe this? Can y'all believe it, Olive? Can y'all believe this? Oh, Michelle Wordle. In Ian's document, it's very clear that Ian confirms it. Melanie Pulaski saying, I had this dream about my children. Y'all, this all fits together. Lori told Audrey that Charles Vallow was dark, and later on said that JJ and Tylee were dark. She also said Tammy was dark. Lori said one or two of Melanie's children were also dark. Well, guess what? If it wouldn't have been for Brandon Boudreaux and what he had to do to keep those children safe, they would have been added as murder victims too, because everyone else talked in here were murdered. Y'all, this is incredible. Can y'all believe this? We all thought that. We thought, did Melanie Pulaski really think that something was wrong with her kids according to Ian's document? We were all wondering about that. Now we've got a person confirming it. Not only confirming that Melanie Pulaski's two kids were on the chopping block, but also that all this time, y'all, JJ and Tylee were being talked about as dark, along with Tammy. It is absolutely evil and diabolical, y'all. Again, when they said Audrey Bartello come to the stand, and I said there was going to be some good testimony, folks, it don't get no better than this. Well, I can't say that. I don't know who, Melanie Pulaski, Ian, others, but I mean, at this point, y'all, I just can't believe it. When Melanie and Lori were in Missouri, they invited Audrey to stay in their hotel room so she didn't have to drive home. Audrey did, and that night, Lori said Tammy had a spirit in her that needed to be taken out. I told her I did not want to help and did not want to participate, says Audrey Bartow. You notice this, y'all? They're trying to save their own ass with their membership in their church, basically, I believe. She's listening to all this time, and not only does she take them up on, I'll stay in the hotel with you, but now they're wanting to get her to participate in this. She long pause. There's a long pause as Audrey starts to cry, y'all, on the stands. She says, they highly pressured me saying, you're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to help me. I reiterated I didn't want to, and she kept on. Audrey says later in the night, she said a prayer. I said a prayer to Heavenly Father. I don't know what's going on. If there is something going on with Tammy and it needs to be taken out, I ask for thee to help her, says Audrey. I asked that she would be able to feel the love of God, and I ended the prayer. Oh, this kind of reminds me, doesn't it, Rays, of Melanie Gibbs saying, well, I didn't know what they were doing. We all got together for these castings, and we all got in a circle, but the only thing I really talked about was my relationship with Jesus Christ. Give me a break. Audrey says it's getting rid of dark spirits. If getting rid of dark spirits didn't work, Lori would come up with another idea. Another spirit got in. We need to try again, etc. It just kept going and going and going, says Audrey. Audrey says Rollins asked Audrey if she remembers getting a text from Lori saying they had done a lot of work, but it didn't work, and another one got in speaking about the zombies. Lori asked Audrey if she had any suggestions to help. It would be appreciated, and Audrey didn't know why Lori was asking her for guidance, and Lori said Tammy's spirit was in a cage or jail, and it needed to be freed because some person had overtaken her body. Yes, y'all, it was Viola. Viola took over Tammy's body. And this Audrey Bartero wants everyone to believe, including these jurors, all this time hearing all this crazy ass stuff, that she didn't really know why Lori was asking her for her advice. Well, I'll tell you, this is just an opinion. Audrey Bartelo, just like the rest of them, wanted them to think that she was important, that she was special. And Lori was drawing all of them together. They wanted to pretend they had these superpowers. Audrey says on the stand, when I heard Chad Daybell say something to the effect of, "Why is the body still alive?" or something like that, I realized that they must have taken things even further. They didn't intend for a person to be helped. They didn't want the person to live. Oh, is this just now dawning on Audrey Bartelo? Give me a break, y'all. But if we take it at face value, again, she's overheard Chad Daybell says something to the effect of, "Why is the body still alive?" or something like that. So I guess if you want to take it as at face value, Lori and all them thought during the time they were trying to do these castings that not only were they going to get the demon out, but it would kill that person. Just wasn't working, y'all. So Chad, Alex, and Lori had to make it happen. And they did it through murder. Toward the later end of October of 2019, y'all, that's a month after the children are murdered, and I'm assuming after Tammy died, Audrey went to Hawaii. Yes, this is when Audrey went to Hawaii to help Lori with her alibi, why Chad and Alex murdered Tammy, or as some of you think, just Chad murdered Tammy. Melanie Pulowski and Lori picked Audrey up. They all stayed in a hotel, and Rollins asked Audrey what she recalls about her stay in Hawaii. And Audrey says, "It was very uncomfortable, y'all, from the get-go." From the get-go of Audrey's testimony here, when she's getting in with Lori and everyone, she's saying everything's uncomfortable. Then what the hell do you keep coming back for, woman? She says Lori told Audrey that Melanie was going through a very hard time and Melanie needed a friend. Audrey says she could be a friend. Audrey is crying now on the stand, y'all, saying, "Shortly after getting there, Lori told me Tammy had passed away." I imagine when Lori told Audrey Bartero and Melanie Pulowski that Tammy had passed away, they probably orgasmed and said, "Oh, Lori, you are the queen. You have these superpowers." I bet, y'all. I bet. I asked her when Tammy had died, and she said it had been about a week. I asked her how she passed away. She said in her sleep. While in Hawaii, they went on bike rides and spent time at the beach. Audrey says Lori's behavior was different. Some moments she was irritated with Melanie. Other times she was swinging and laughing. At the time, she seemed agitated or snippy. I'll tell you why, y'all. Because she wanted to get back with her gherkin. She didn't want to be there. She wanted to get back close to Chad. She wanted to get back with him. And she was snippy. She was absolutely wanting. She was having withdrawals from being away from Chad Daybell. She'd waited all this time so she could be the queen. Here we go, y'all. So, I mean, that's what I see. Y'all might see something else. Yeah, Heidi's mind. Shrooms. I mean, these people act like they've been smoking some dubage. They act like they're on something. Perhaps GHB, huh? To make the experience of being a lowercase g just a little more intense. And just think about it like this, y'all. They went on bike rides and spent time at the beach. And where were those children's bodies at that time, y'all? Lori is laughing and swinging around. At the time, she seemed agitated or snippy. And the only reason that she was agitated or snippy had nothing to do with the murder of her children. She wanted to get on with her life, don't you know? She wanted to be happy, don't you know? What happened to her kids? Well, that was a while back. That's right, Heather. Marvin says, no guilty conscience. And have y'all noticed that? These people, they either distance themselves to save face with, I'm assuming, their church. Now that they're testifying, they can testify and the state's okay with what they really know. They're just going to water it down so these people can keep their membership. Ain't no damn way. First time somebody talked that kind of shit to me and I felt uncomfortable, I'd say, hit the road, Jack, and don't come back no more, no more. Audrey said Lori often got phone calls and she would leave for a long time. Audrey would stay with Melanie to keep her happy. Audrey was starting to get uncomfortable and said she was going to go home. Lori said she was going to leave. Melanie said she wasn't ready to go and didn't want to stay alone. Is this the same Melanie Pulaski that said she spent the whole damn time trying to get her damn kids back? Give me a break. Melanie Pulaski didn't want to leave Hawaii, y'all. So Audrey stayed with her. Lori bought a ticket to go home to Idaho on Wednesday, so Audrey and Melanie P. stayed in Hawaii because Melanie P. just wanted to stay there. She wasn't a bit concerned, y'all, in my view, of where her kids were, hiding with Brandon. Audrey then left with Melanie on Sunday and flew with her to Idaho so Melanie wouldn't be alone. And you know what, y'all? This is more than just so Melanie Pulaski wouldn't be alone. They had to keep Melanie Pulaski in this cult. So somebody had to watch over her so she wouldn't come to her senses and run off. Audrey said she would pay her condolences in person to Garth, which is Chad and Tammy's son, because I knew he had been very close to his mom. I'm sure Maria P. Lori had to get back. She's running low on funds, don't you know? She had to get some of Tammy Daybell's blood money. That's a great point. Audrey stayed at Lori's apartment in Rexburg, y'all. Chad and Lori were there kissing and hugging. He often came by late at night to stay at the apartment. Melanie stayed in one of Lori's rooms, Melanie Pulaski. And folks, this again, he often stayed at the apartment late at night. He could have been there that night JJ was murdered. Okay, I know Tammy hadn't been murdered yet, but this is just a theory. While in Rexburg, Audrey, Chad, Lori, and Melanie Pulaski went to the Rexburg Temple. Rollins has no further questions for Audrey. And just think about that, y'all. Child murderers, innocent people that's been murdered, Tammy, Charles, the attempt on Brandon's life. These people are walking through the door of the temple, swiping their card. They're going in there, bringing all that funk with them, that evil-ass funk. It's disgusting. So, Archie will cross-examine Audrey. The first question is, if I take this right, you spend time with Lori and Chad in 5 different states? Utah, Missouri, Hawaii, Idaho, and Arizona. Is that right? And Audrey says, yes, and that's a great point, y'all. That's a great point. Audrey's so uncomfortable. She was so worried. She really didn't think this was normal. And yet she's spending time in all of these states with these damn idiot damn cult members. I'd say she was probably one herself. Just a view. Just old KJ's view. Butterbean says, BS. Maria P says, lock her up. Goodwill Squatter says, for real. Sickle Marchie says, Tina Marie. And listen, y'all. I'm all for this. I mean, I'm all for the state having a great case and all that. But if these defense attorneys can tear a new asshole into these cult members, I'm waiting on it. I want answers. Archie asks Audrey how old she is. She's 34 years old, y'all, and she's single. She works remotely for a customer service job. Archie asked about the Preparing a People seminars and Audrey attended. Preparing a people for what? says Archie. And Audrey says, for the end of the world. Prepare the people for the end of the world, says Audrey. I guess she's also wanting to prepare herself for the end of the world because Chad and Lori's going to be the Church of the Firstborn, and they're going to set up the white tents. You know, the 7 missions to accomplish together that Chad and Lori had to do. Give me a break. And Audrey says, I was interested in learning about that subject. I'm just curious, y'all. Can any of these people learn about the end of the world through their own church membership and Sunday school classes? You know, I mean, do they have to go somewhere else? They got to go to these in-home meetings, these firesides, these social media platforms, these podcasts. They're just not getting enough from going to church. My point is my point. Archie asked about Chad's books. He said they were fictional, but they were based on spiritual experiences or impressions he or other people had. Chad spoke with Audrey about his near-death experiences. Yeah, Roxy, why is everyone so hung up on the end times? Well, I'll tell you, I don't know I can't speak for other people and why people, I mean, maybe it's a sign of faith, maybe, you know, whatever, you know, because I do know there is going to be a time when Jesus is coming back. But what I'm saying is Jesus Christ wants me to live today. That's what he wants me to do. He wants me to live today. He don't want me freaking out and doing all this stuff to get ready for the end of the world. He wants me to live today, fully. That's just me, though. Archie asks Audrey if preparing for the end of the world is going to be a happy or a sad event. And Audrey says, the scripture says it's going to be both. And Archie says, what's the point of preparing to be happy when Jesus comes again? What's the point? And Audrey says, to be with God and to be with your family and to live among people who want to be with God. And Archie says, what do you need to do to prepare for a happy event? And Audrey says, be living the commandments and living the best you can. Let me repeat that. Audrey Barterio is saying, be living the commandments and living the best you can. Now, you know, only God can judge people. But if you look at the behaviors of Lori and Chad and all the rest of these inner circle people, are they living the commandments and living the best you can? Well, I'll tell you this right now, y'all. Oh, KJ, I'm a sinner saved by grace. I do the best I can. But I'm going to tell you what, I cannot sit here and tell you I'm never going to sin again. That's not real. Okay? It's just not real. Archie asked Audrey if she's ever met Alex Cox. She says one time in Idaho at the end of her friendship with Lori, the end of her friendship, she stopped being friends with Lori. Guess when Audrey stopped being friends with Lori? When the shit hit the fan, that's why. And make no mistake, she met Alex, and I'm sure maybe there was a little mix-up there. Maybe, just maybe, they had thought, well, maybe Audrey would be a good fit for Alex Cox instead of Zulema. Give me a break, y'all. Archie asked if Audrey ever met Charles Vallow. She says once in November of 2018. And it's so sad, is it not, that she would believe Lori all this crazy stuff. But I would have loved to have met Charles Vallow. I got a lot of perspective when I went down to Louisiana and spent time with Cresha and Larry and Kay and their family. He was a wonderful man. Archie asked if he looked like he had a demon or was possessed, and Audrey says not when she met him. I think Archie's being facetious, y'all. So, that's a question. Would you believe that in the modern times here, a criminal triple murder case here, a defense attorney is actually asking someone, did this murder victim look like they were demon possessed? Again, y'all, this is a trial we will never see again in our lifetimes. Even with all the same evidence, all the same witnesses and stuff going over into Chad's trial, the bottom line is I would have never in a million years thought it would come down to this. Can y'all believe this shit? Butterbean says Lori didn't deserve Charles. Marvin says crazy. Wacky, says KCL. Right, Jay. They did. They wanted a mate for Alex that would completely buy into their BS. You're exactly right. We got some brilliant perspective on this, y'all. Right, Michelle Wordle. No one deserved Lori. Lord, anyone who got with Lori ended up dead. Archie asked Audrey if she's familiar with the concept of Jesus casting out evil spirits. And Audrey says she is. And Archie asked if the casting out prayer circles was unusual to her. And Audrey says yes, it was. And Archie asked who Audrey was praying to during the casting. And Audrey says the method they were using didn't seem like prayer. They were not calling upon Father in heaven, she says. The words they were using were aggressive things. This harkens back to Melanie Gibb, y'all. Melanie Gibb's so full of it. Audrey responds when asked if the ladies in the hotel room were calling upon the devil. Oh my goodness, y'all. The words they were, I'm reading Nate Eaton's tweet. The words that were used were aggressive things. Audrey responds when asked if the ladies in the hotel room were calling upon the devil. Okay. Well, so Archie is asking, when they were in the hotel room, were they calling upon the devil? And Audrey says the words they used were aggressive things. I'll tell you what, these people, they have to really tiptoe around their involvement, don't they? I'm sure this has been quite the experience for all these cult members, especially the ones who were in the middle of all this. That's some crazy stuff, y'all. That's crazy. And just think, there are people out here in the world like this today. Not only that believe specifically what Chad and Lori was believing, but there's other things too. There's other things out here in different religions. Well, I don't even want to say religions. I want to say cults. That's what I want to say. Audrey was uncomfortable with the casting. Archie asked if she was worried about Charles Vallow and if she called the police. Audrey says no. Archie asked if she had called church headquarters. She says no. And then Archie says, if you thought there were a bunch of weirdos, you'd never want to hang out with them again, right? And she says she wasn't sure what to think. And Archie mentions that she kept getting back together with Lori and Melanie, which is an excellent point. Not only have the Rays and I said this for almost 2 years, these damn people, they, at least after the first murder, you would have thought they would have contacted law enforcement, and if nothing else, contact their bishop or someone at the church. But no, they weren't just walking away and not telling anybody. They were still in this shit. Chris D says they were witches. Leanne Jordan says, get her, Archie. Audrey says she was not in communication with them, but she was in communication with Chad. Audrey says she first learned about zombies from Lori. Archie asks where Lori got the information. He says, Chad, did you get this information from Chad, right? And Audrey doesn't remember, y'all. Audrey doesn't remember whether it was Chad who told Lori this or not. Archie asks if Audrey ever thought Chad was a weirdo who was leading her astray. And she replies at the end of their friendship in October of 2019, Audrey says, so in the summer of 2019, you're still a fan of, well, no, she doesn't say this. Let me say this again, y'all. I apologize. It's the way Nate's wording it. Archibald says if Audrey ever thought Chad was a weirdo who was leading her astray, she replies at the end of their friendship was when where they split up in October of 2019. But he says, Archie says, so in the summer of 2019, you're still a fan, a follower of his. Sorry, y'all. It's the way he's putting it in the tweet. So Archie is asking Audrey Bartero, well, you're still hanging out with him, summer of 2019. You're still a fan, a follower of his. And she says on the witness stand, I thought he had information and was doing good things at that time. At that time, I thought he was someone who could help understand, could help me understand, says Audrey. Archibald says because she was following him, is it safe to say other women wanted to follow him too? Like Lori, Melanie Gibbs, Zulema? And Audrey says yes, after each name. So Audrey's letting the jurors know that at summer of 2019, she's still following them. So this whole direct examination where she didn't feel comfortable, it just didn't feel right. Something was wrong. A juror can see through her. I agree, Margaret A. All the cult members need to be held accountable for what happened to everyone. And our Bite PR has a great euphemism here, the Pied Piper and the rats. Dogmon says these women give real women a bad name. So we get from Audrey Bartelo's testimony that she really thought that he would help her understand these things, right? When Chad told Audrey about previous probations and lives, Audrey thought there could be something in that. Audrey says she believed Chad when he told her that he had been Methuselah. She says she believed that Chad had been an apostle of Jesus in a prior life. Y'all, here it comes. Who in the hell? Who in the hell wants to believe this garbage? Chad told her he had lived multiple lives over millions of years. He was regenerating as all of these great people, right? Says Archibald. And she says yes. So let me just repeat that. He was regenerating all these great people, right? Says Archie. And Audrey Bartello believed that to be true, y'all. Chad never said he was a loser in the 1700s. He was always someone great, someone cool, says Archie. And that's a great point, y'all. Just as Lori talks about, I see Jesus face to face, and Chad says he was the Holy Spirit and all this other stuff. Give me a break. Chad told Audrey he had been Jesus' brother in a prior life. Chad was married to Lori, who was named Elena, and they walked in Palestine with Jesus. Chad told Audrey she was married to Jesus. Her name was Joanna when she was married to Jesus. That, my friends, is pure, unadulterated, spiritual blasphemy. In my belief system, blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, Jesus, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, my goodness, y'all, it's unforgivable. When Chad Daybell told you in a previous life your name was Joanna and you'd been married to Jesus, what did you think of that? And Audrey says, at the time, I thought it could be true because I trusted him. Y'all, this is disgusting. Jesus Christ was married to some woman named Joanne? Give me a break. This is absolutely sick. Sick. Can y'all believe how sickening this is? This is crazy. Kim DiMaggio says, so Methuselah or James the Just or someone who'd walked in Palestine with Jesus needs to come back to earth as Chad Daybell, the lumpy-dumpy, crappy-ass adulterer? Give me a break. Great point, Kim DiMaggio. Archie asked if Audrey thought it was pretty cool because she'd been married to Jesus. And she says yes. And Archie says, so you thought if Chad Daybell's telling me about your past, he can probably predict the future too, huh? And Audrey says, yes. This gave you a feeling of I'm somebody, right? And Audrey says, yes. I'll tell you what, y'all. If somebody came to me and told me that I had been married to Jesus Christ Almighty, Jesus Christ, I would absolutely, I would freak out and I would tell these people, get out of my face or I'm going back here to my gun safe. That's what I do. That is so disturbing, y'all. It's so disturbing. I actually want to jump up from here and go in there and get a shower. This is disgusting. That is right, Marvin. Get behind me, Satan. Oh my gosh. Archie asked Audrey why she moved to Missouri, and she says she did after she prayed about it. Archie asks if she believes Jesus is going to come to Missouri when he comes back to the earth. And she says that is a teaching of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There you go, y'all. There you go. 1 minute, she is accepting a teaching of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And in the next breath, y'all, she has said she believed that her name was Joanna and she was married to Jesus Christ Almighty. Let me tell you what. Here's the bottom line. Jesus Christ came down here to save humanity. He took on the sins of the world. He didn't have time to get married to a woman named Joanna, okay? He was saving humanity. He came here to serve, okay? And now that he is resurrected and sits at the right hand of God, he's coming back. And all power is been given by God Almighty to Jesus Christ. Doesn't say nothing in there in Holy Scripture about Jesus being married to Joanna. It is what it is. It's crazy. Well, I tell you, you can't have it both ways. I forgot who just said it, that Lori's going to say, Chad just had so much power over me. One woman, Lori, wants to say she was the warrior beyond the millennia. She actually fought Satan himself. Chad telling Lori she's the most powerful woman in the world? Which is it? She's the most powerful, or she's under Chad Daybell's power? Give me a break. This all leads back to evil itself, y'all. Archie asked about church historical sites and what Audrey means by that. She says pioneer historical sites. He asks about Adam Ondi, Amon, Liberty Jail, and other sites Lori, Audrey, and Melanie Pulaski visited. Can y'all almost picture? Y'all are hearing this crazy ass shit from Audrey Bartello. Can y'all imagine what Melanie Pulaski's going to say? I mean, it's going to be just when you think you've heard it all. Just when we thought Melanie Gibb and Zulema kind of gave the jury somewhat of this craziness because their stuff was watered down. You got Audrey Bartello really delving into it. Kathy Barella, I think the jurors are listening intently. I think the jurors also will be reminded, if they don't already have it in their mind, that they cannot create any kind of bias over someone's religious beliefs, which to me, they're cult beliefs, I guess, if you want to say that. So I think the jurors are really looking at this. I'm hoping, this is what I hope, they're not just saying, oh, this because we're hearing all this crazy stuff, that they're guilty. I don't think that's at all. I think they're looking at actually the behaviors more than the beliefs. That's what I hope. Because you can see through all the garbage that they were doing to see where it was leading to murder. Archie asked about the casting that she participated in while in Missouri, and she said she wasn't sure what was going on and didn't want to participate in the casting. So that's why she said her own prayer asking God to help Tammy if there was something wrong. Of course she's going to say that. Nita Flynn says Chad must be a part squirrel because he seems to attract all the nuts. Is difficult research in here? Cresha, happy birthday, honey. I love you. I hope you're having a good day. I know it's hard to in the middle of what you're dealing with, but we all love you here. Happy birthday, Cresha. I mean, Cresha, can you believe this testimony from Audrey Bartello? I knew it was going to be blockbuster. I knew it. I just knew it because the defense attorneys, they were so wanting not to let her testify during pre-trial with the discovery and everything. Cresha, if you go to jail, OKJ's got enough bail money. Honey, I promise you, OKJ will spring you. I'll get you out of there, Krisha. She's just kidding, Jenny Benny. Krisha's having to deal with these murderers and all these cult members over there. She's hearing all this, knowing that JJ, Tylee, Tammy, and Charles, and even Joseph Ryan were basically murdered. So she's fighting herself from freaking, I bet, jumping over that banister and tagging that damn whore. Audrey says she, Lori, and Melanie Pulaski were not holding hands during this particular casting. Audrey doesn't remember where the zombie teachings came from, but had never heard of them before she met Lori. Audrey says the light and dark scales came from Chad. Archie asked Audrey what her score on the light and dark scale was. She doesn't remember the number, but she remembers she had a good score. And all these cult members had a good score, didn't they? But Lori and Chad had the biggest light score. They were the most powerful, don't you know? Candace Parr says, Krisha, may your next birthday be spent in better times. Lulu says, happy birthday, Krisha. It's just, y'all, it's absolutely cray-cray. It's cray-cray. Big Stick says, happy birthday, Krisha. Happy birthday, Krisha, says Mauve TM. This is your year, Krisha, says Little Bronze. K-Tech says, Krisha, you're doing a big service to the victims and to justice by just sitting in the pew. Happy birthday, says Raphael Dean, Sherilyn Softner, Tina Marie. They're all saying happy birthday. We love you, Krisha. That's right, dodging bullets. I agree with that 100%. Any religion that challenges one word of the Bible, adds or takes away to it, it's dangerous. But that's just my view. I agree with that, dodging bullets. Archie asked Audrey if she ever thought to call the police about Charles or Tammy being in danger. She says not until she decided to dissolve the friendship. Archibald asked why she didn't go home after she felt so uncomfortable on the beach in Hawaii. Instead, she went to Idaho. And Audrey tells Archie, because I have a big heart and I try to help those around me. And she starts to cry on the witness stand. When Audrey Barterio, y'all, make no mistake, when she decided to dissolve her friendship, it was when the shit hit the fan. Make no mistake. Some of y'all might be thinking, oh, KJ, lay off of her. She's a state's witness. She's burying Lori with her testimony right now. Folks, it's the least she could do. Archie says, and that's what friends do. They try to help each other, right? And Audrey says, yes. And he now asks why they went to the temple in Rexburg when she arrived. Asked if she'd gone to the temple in Rexburg when she arrived, and she said she did. It's a place she can go to serve others. It's a place of peace. A place of peace, says Audrey Barterio, when we know good and damn well that Zulema was in an Arizona temple trying to get rid of the demon in Charles Vallow. And again, y'all, she is corroborating right now. It wasn't just about getting the evil spirit out of Charles so that he could go on to lead a healthy life. They all knew that once that spirit left, they would die. And you got Zulema going all day long in a temple, trying to do whatever she's going to do to help Lori get rid of Charles Vallow. But it didn't work, don't you know, because none of that shit's real. But what is real is ambushing Charles Vallow at Lori, with Lori and Alex right there, along with Tylee and JJ, shooting him dead. That's real. All this other stuff, not real. Oh, don't get me wrong, y'all. OKJ believes in the Holy Bible, Holy Scripture. Yes, there is such a thing as demon possession, in my opinion, and in my belief system. And if it's ever been shown to OKJ, we're looking at it right here with Lori, Chad, Alex, and this cult. All these people that did the castings, did all of this stuff. That is demon possession to me. Archie has no further questions, and Rollins will now follow up on some questions. She clarifies that Chad was not with Audrey in Hawaii or Missouri. Tanya Rawling clarifies that the castings took place in Lori's hotel rooms and that Lori organized them and that Lori picked the target, y'all. It was all under the direction of Lori Hussey Daybell. Ann Gibson, yes, these people are real. Just as I said earlier, there are people out here that actually believe, number one, that they're better than everyone else. That there are people out here that believe that they can do all this crazy ass stuff. I'm sure you can throw a little narcissism and mental health issues in with that as well. For Audrey Bartario to believe that she was the wife of Jesus Christ and her name was Joanne tells OKJ all I need to know about the freaking nature of these crazy ass people. Okay? So who's up next, y'all? She hadn't left the stand yet, and Tanya Rollins has brought out that all of these targets were Lori's. Now, perhaps Chad was telling Lori who the next target was, but it was still Lori's decision, y'all. In fact, if Chad would have went to Lori and said, your children are zombies, Lori, we've got to start trying to cast them out, which Audrey Bartero does confirm all this time. When Melanie Gibbs telling police, they never talked about Tylee and JJ, just Brandon, Boudreaux, and Tammy. That's a crock of shit, okay? So even if Chad told Lori that, all she had to do was say, Chad, I've got my own revelation. And I'm not going to say this out loud to you, Chad, but if, I'm going to tell you, no, JJ and Tylee, I see differently, Chad. Because really that would have equaled, Chad, if you don't listen to me, you get no more of my nookie. You don't get no more of my poontang. I'm telling y'all, Lori was going to get her way with Chad Daybell. That's right. A bunch of zeros wanting to be special, says Kim DiMaggio. Y'all know it might sound funny, OKJ, talking about it. But if I was just to get on here and be serious about it, I will not have anything but making fun of these crazy people. That's what that makes me filter through all this garbage. I wonder if any of these people stop to think, when they talk about all these casting took place in Lori's hotel rooms as it relates to Audrey Bartero, why not, if this is such a good, divine, godly thing, why not do it in a church or in a temple? Well, I'm sure they probably did this under their breath at the temple, but they were definitely not going to go into one of the wards and start talking this stuff. They knew better. They weren't happy with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and what it had to offer them. I guess their prophet, Russell Nelson there, just wasn't giving them enough to, get them off, I guess. Tickle those ears. They just had to have a little bit more. That's right. That's a good point. I forgot your name, but you know who you are. Nothing beautiful, innocent, and real that comes from above. First of all good and perfect things come from above. But what this person, I forgot who you are, but you know what you just said. Nothing's done in darkness. You would shout it from the rooftops if it was something divine from God. That's common sense. You shouldn't have to lie to people. You shouldn't have to deceive people. Gotta let my cat out. Hold on. Here you go. You wanna go? There you go. Go poo poo pee pee. All right. West Virginia says, happy birthday, Crescia. Eric says, shouldn't have to order wedding rings on your ex-husband's or your murdered husband's Amazon account. Isn't that interesting? These people wanted to lift themselves up so much to say they'd lived all these lives and all these things. Why even have to do any of that? Why legally get married here on earth if you were married all them times? No matter how you look at it, y'all, we could shoot it out of the water 100 different ways. Yes, Billy, that's divine when a child is cured of cancer. When something beautiful and wonderful happens. Maria P. says, why wish death on anyone? Why do that? Audrey says she terminated the friendship with Lori in October of 2019 after praying about it. Well, I guess Audrey Bartero could have prayed about it all this year up till this point before she says she was in Lori's house and Audrey told her she was going to go upstairs and pack her bags. So all this time, y'all, Audrey's taking part in all this. She says she terminated the friendship after praying about it. She had every moment of every day, all this time that she was doing all she was doing to pray about it. Wonder why in October of 2019, when she's praying about it, that the answer automatically came to her then. It wouldn't have come any other time because, again, y'all, the shit hit the fan. Audrey says, I asked her the question, is there anything weird going on that I don't know about? And Lori said, what do you mean? And Audrey says, I don't know anything. And so I took her at her word because I'm a trusting person. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. These people have an answer for everything, don't they? To make themselves look better. As soon as I turned to go upstairs, Lori started laughing like if you were laughing at somebody. She said, you're so naive and too trusting. You're like a little child. You think the world is all unicorns and rainbows. You go around helping people and serving them. Well, I've got news for you. Not everyone is a good person, and not everyone can be so kind. And then she threatened to kill me. Lori, y'all, let me say this again. Y'all can picture Lori in her lowercase g crap, telling Audrey as Audrey's going up the stairs to pack. She says, you're so naive and too trusting. You're like a little child. You think the world is all unicorns and rainbows. You go around helping people and serving them. Well, and then Lori says, well, I've got news for you. Not everyone is a good person, and not everyone can be so kind. And then Audrey says that Lori threatened to kill her, and she said she would cut me up and wasn't in the mental place to do it, but would get herself in a place to do it. Can y'all believe this shit? This is exactly what Audrey Bartero deserves. She deserves to hear her freaking cult leader, Lori, telling her, when I get in the right mindset, I'm going to cut you up in pieces. Well, isn't that what happened to JJ and Tylee? Well, JJ not so much, but isn't that what happened to Tylee? Huh? There you go. That right there tells me, y'all, tells me that Lori knew what they did to Tylee. Just as it harkens back to Zulema being told by Chad that at her different life, she was a 14-year-old who was raped and murdered. Lori is telling Audrey Bartero that she would cut her up, but she ain't going to do it right now because she's not in the mental place to do it, but would get herself in a place to do it. And remember, this is October of 2019. Was this before Tammy's death or after? Lori tells Audrey Bartero, y'all want to listen to this shit? Lori tells Audrey Bartero there would be blood and bleach and something about trash bags. She would bury me in a place nobody would ever find me. And again, y'all, Tylee and JJ hadn't been discovered yet. And Lori's bringing up bleach. She's bringing up trash bags. So not only is she talking about cutting up Audrey, which is what they did to Tylee, now they're talking about trash bags, y'all, which is what they did to JJ. And that they would bury Audrey Bartero in a place where nobody would ever find her. And for a long time there, 8 months at least, I think, Lori was right about that until JJ and Tylee were discovered. Archie is now questioning Audrey and reminds her that she promised under oath to tell the whole truth. Archie said none of this testimony came up in the grand jury proceedings. Remember, Rays? I told y'all that they had a copy of the grand jury transcript, and I said they're going to go back and they're going to refer back to it. I don't know if the Rays take in everything that OKJ says, but I know for a fact I said that in past pre-records and live streams that they were going to use that. I thought they would use it more on Melanie Gibb, but they ended up using it on Audrey Bartero. And he's got a point. This damning shit that she just said was never talked about at the grand jury that indicted Lori and Chad on first-degree murder. Makes really a good question from old Archie, y'all. Archie says nothing of this sort was talked about in the grand jury. You want the jury to believe that you just didn't make this crap up? And Audrey says, I did not make it up. And Audrey says she did not even mention this before because she was scared. And Archie forcefully pushes Audrey that this never came up in previous testimony. And Audrey Bartero, says on the stand, I stand by my claims. But y'all, if I was a jury member and a defense attorney was bringing out that one of the state's witnesses has said this really damning stuff, you would think, y'all, common sense says she'd have brought it up at the grand jury. Yes, she says that she was too scared to bring it up. So Archie has nothing further, and Rollins asks if she can ask one more question Boy says no, and we're now headed to a morning break, back around 10:40. So it is 10:15, around 10:15 right now. So we're looking at a 15-minute break. Y'all, can y'all believe this? I got to repeat it. I'm sorry, y'all, but I've got to because I've never heard this before. And I guess the question is Audrey making this up or is this the truth? So Audrey Bartero's story is she was asking Lori, y'all. She was saying, is there anything weird going on? And let's just keep in mind, in context, that this was October of 2019. Okay? This hadn't gone into November yet, where you have the child welfare check. And in fact, you know, after that, that's when everything started getting in gear about the missing kids. But Audrey's asking Lori about this. And Lori says, what do you mean? And Lori says, I don't know anything. And then Audrey says, I just took her word because I'm a trusting person. But Audrey says, as soon as I turned to go upstairs, y'all, and you can visualize this. First of all, it had to be a serious moment there that Audrey's saying, Lori, is there anything weird going on that I don't know about? And let's keep in mind, Lori knows the children have been murdered and buried in Chad's backyard. She also knows that Charles Vallow's been murdered and that Kay and Larry, she also knows by this time in October, October, that the attempt on Brandon's life has happened. So Audrey is turning to walk upstairs, and you almost can picture Lori in her goddess, warrior beyond the millennia voice saying, you're so naive and too trusting. You're like a little child. You think the world is all unicorns and rainbows. You go around helping people and serving them. Well, I've got news for you. Not everyone is a good person and not everyone can be so kind. And then she threatened to kill Audrey. Folks, when I say that Lori Hussey Daybell has a demon in her, I mean it. I mean it. Okay? I mean, there is a demon possession in Lori Chad. Wouldn't be surprised in the rest of these cult members. She's got a demon in her that's saying this. Some would say, why can't it be just Lori? Why can't Lori be the one saying this? Let me tell you something. That's demon possession, y'all. She threatened to kill Audrey. She said she would cut her up and wasn't in a mental place to do it right now, but would get herself in a place to do it. Y'all, there would be blood and bleach and something about trash bags. She would bury me in a place nobody would ever find me. And you think about the blockbuster nature of that testimony, and you have to ask the question, why? Why wouldn't she tell the grand jury this? She didn't have nothing to be fearful for. She testified in other things in the grand jury. Lori and Chad at this time were in jail. She had nothing to fear. Yeah, I'm sure some of y'all could say, well, KJ, maybe there were other cult members out there. Well, Alex was dead too. And Archie says nothing of this sort was talked about. You just want the jury to believe that. You just want the jury to believe that you just didn't make that crap up. And Audrey Bartero says, I did not make it up. Hello, Robbie Martin. She doesn't want to go to jail herself, says Kathy Barella. Bismo Funyan says she was scared of people that knew Chad and Lori. Right, Tina Reddington. They were doing a back and forth. They did the direct, cross, then a recross, and then the defense did, and then they wanted to ask one more question, but the judge didn't allow it. Oh, yeah. Was it? I forgot how you told me how to say your name, Cell 82. I'm sorry. I know you told me, but I can't remember right now. Kresha thinks she's lying. Well, yeah. She's lying. I don't know. I don't think she's completely lying 100%, but I think she's, throwing in the garbage bags and throwing in, hiding your body. Well, folks, how about this? Wasn't Lori telling Charles Vallow that you'll get murdered and then they won't find your body? I guess it all depends on how you want to look at it. Either way it goes. My hope is if the jury thinks she made this up, that they at least don't think she made up the other stuff about going to the hotel and all of that. And going to these historical religious sites and hanging out with Melanie Pulaski, who didn't want to go back from Hawaii. Goodwill Squatter says I think she's telling the truth. It's a possibility that Tylee was sexually assaulted. I mean, look what they did to her. Anything's possible with these evil, diabolical people. Candace Parr makes a great point. This Audrey Barterio is listed along with Melanie Pulaski as Lori's alibi in Archibald's filings, the notice of alibi. Does that look like Audrey Barterio is going to give Lori an alibi? Well, in terms of her involvement in this cult, Lori's involvement and what Lori did through all this, it doesn't help Lori, but it does help Lori that, yes, Audrey Barterio was in Hawaii with Lori and Melanie Pulaski. So in that sense, it does. But then again, y'all, what alibi are we talking about here? Because according to Idaho law, conspiracy to commit murder, you don't have to be in the same freaking country. You can still conspire. And first degree murder, Lindsay Blake said it in opening statements. You don't have to do the hands-on. You aid and abet. Hence, conspiracy to commit murder has the same penalty as first degree murder. I know it's confusing to y'all. But the bottom line is KJ's saying that yes, Audrey Barterio is testified that she was in Hawaii with Lori. She does say Lori left before her and Melanie Pulaski. But what I'm saying is she's also testified that during the time that they were in Hawaii, Tammy Daybell had died. The question really is why wouldn't Lori tell Audrey Barterio or Melanie Pulaski the morning or the day of Tammy's death? Because Audrey Barterio says in her testimony that it had a week had passed since Tammy's death. That doesn't make sense to me. But then again, none of these cult members, I don't believe a damn word any of them say. It's a catch-22, y'all. Some of y'all, I'm sure have thought, KJ, 1 minute you're saying, hey, you can believe what they're saying, and the next minute you can't believe a damn thing they're saying. Y'all, this goes back to mixing truth in with lies and lies by omission. That's what these people do. It's their MO. I would like that, Rowan, to you. I would love for them to play the recording of Lori saying, I wanted to murder Joseph Ryan. But I think what we need to understand, and maybe I'm the one that kind of got that started without really thinking, is this was not a podcast. Melanie Gibb actually recorded it, but it was not like the podcast that they played the 40 minutes of in court yesterday. So it would not be in the same category, I think. Yeah, Debbie Bukes. Me too. I'm actually going to have to listen to every word said in the audio this evening because, again, Nate Eaton's giving blow by blow. He's excellent on the points and he's doing a good job. It's just the audio really has it coming together. Adam V says, I believe that Audrey was truly scared. She played too close to the devil, and when she got scared, she saw the devil get mad. Good point, Adam V. Michelle Wordle says these jurors have to think they picked the short straw. I'm serious, says, oh, Lord. These are going so fast, y'all. Yes, Vicky McNutt. The word kill is used quite often by Lori. I mean, y'all, I'm sure many of us, there's people calling in. I'm sure many of us have watched many criminal trials, but one like this, the magnitude of what's being testified to, I don't know. Maybe it's because I am a Christian, and to know how these people used, they absolutely were hiding behind the words Jesus Christ. But I'm telling y'all, as I sit here, Jesus Christ is got nothing to do with this. This is just them using the words Jesus Christ to validate things, and they're going to have a lot to answer for. Once, I mean, I'm telling you, it's blasphemy. Carolyn A, I don't know that she's lying. You're asking, why does a lot of y'all think she's lying? What I'm saying is this type of testimony is so absolutely damning. You would think that would have been spoke at the grand jury proceedings. And her answer for not bringing it out was she was scared. Well, what did she have to be scared about? Chad, Lori, and Alex were not going to come after her. The only thing I think she really was scared of was losing her membership in her organized religion, to be honest with you. If on one hand you want to believe it's the truth, then that really does account for Lori talking about garbage bags and chopping her up and hiding her and all that. That makes all the sense in the world. But again, y'all, you would think this would have came out in the grand jury testimony. My concern is if a juror thinks she is lying, are they going to disregard other things she said that maybe she did say in the grand jury testimony? And that would be unfortunate. KJ's view, she might be lying, or she might be telling the truth. I mean, I could believe she would be telling the truth, considering how evil and diabolical these people are. But I'm on the fence about it at this point, because Archie does make a good point. He does make a good point. Michelle Wordle says, being charged for lying in a grand jury. Well, if she doesn't bring anything up, if they don't ask her a question directly and she doesn't bring it up, that's not lying. Lying by omission. That's what all these cult members are getting away with. Because unless you're asked a direct question, and even then, when it comes to Zulema and Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, I can't recall. Melanie Gibbs saying, I was in a vehicle full of women, but I can't recall their names when one of them for sure was Zulema. I mean, how do you forget being in a car with Zulema? The volcano woman, or whatever the hell you want to call her. All I'm saying is there's not no 100% honesty going on here on either side. But I'll tell you this, at this point, y'all, in my definition, in my view of justice through understanding, Lori is screwed. Chad is screwed. Marcella says these people are worse than the Manson family. I agree with that. Michelle Wordle, Nate Eaton didn't say anything about John Pryor being in there. He did say Larry and Kay Woodcock were there. And the bottom line on that is they're listening to this right now. They're in the courtroom. And Crecious, I don't know if she's in the courtroom or whether she stayed back at the hotel, but she's still, whether she's in the courtroom or not, she's having to hear this. And these victims' family members deserve our thoughts and prayers. Amica Cream says maybe Audrey Bartario was afraid of Jason Mall or someone else that was connected to Chad, which makes a lot of sense. Susie Adrian, that's a good question. It's a lot to take in, y'all. So give me a minute. I might not, you know, I can blab my mouth and all that good stuff. But at this moment, when you hear Audrey Bartario saying this stuff, it's really hard for me to absorb. Lori laughed at Colby in the phone call at the prison. Yes, that's right, Rosemary. What did I say back with about that? The sound of that laugh. Demon possession. Again, there are people on this channel right now that don't believe in any of that. And I can respect that. I'm not pushing that on anyone. All I can do is demonstrate who I am. KJ in the Ray here. Here, I live in Tennessee. I'm a 52-year-old woman. You know, this is my life in terms of when I see something. And so no one has to agree with me or accept what I have to say at all. Everyone has a right to their own views. Yes. Olive says that some of it is true, but some of it could be embellishment. It's sad, THX. Lori laughed when Tylee was murdered. Yes, Denise, it has been one hell of a morning. It's just hearing that and because like I've told y'all before, when I read something, I can visualize, I can almost visualize it as long as I know what the people look like. And just thinking about Lori trying to exert herself over Audrey Bartario, I'm telling you, they didn't want to let go of her. They didn't want to let go of Audrey Bartario. Audrey knew something was fixing to happen. Things were coming to a head. And on top of it all, when Lori tells her, if in fact this is true, I'll chop you up, but I'm not in the mental place to do it right now. What does she mean by the mental place? Maybe this was before Tammy's murder and she was still pissy about the fact that Tammy wasn't dead yet? Or was this after Tammy was murdered and Lori's not in the mental place about it because she's getting ready to go to Hobby Lobby with Chad and they're getting ready to go to Hawaii and get married on November 5th? You just don't know. Some of these questions. A lot of people say, I've seen a lot of people say, this answers so many questions. And it does. But there are so many more questions, y'all, that I want answered because of the answered questions, if that makes sense at all. Miss Stralianis, what is Hobby Lobby? Well, they had testimony last week of Chad and Lori being surveyed it was right before they left, a few days before they left to go to Hawaii to get married, that they're walking hand in hand into Hobby Lobby. That's, that's what I meant by that. So, yes, Chad and Lori, and they're going into Hobby Lobby, maybe to browse or to shop. We don't know exactly what they were there for, but just knowing that those two evil people were holding hands walking into Hobby Lobby with those children dead in the backyard and Tammy murdered and Charles murdered, it's disgusting. It's sick. It's so sick. Yes, it is Badger. It's an arts and crafts store. Somebody said that maybe they went in there to find Hawaiian leis for their motif for the beach when they do their wedding photos and all that. It's gross. Yeah, getting crap for their stupid wedding. Maggie Lee says, now Hobby Lobby will change their name. So it's 24 minutes into it. We've got into the break. According to Nate Eaton, we've got 4 more minutes before they're supposed to be back, y'all. They really are, John Shepherd. Fake as plastic, those wedding photos. Chad and Lori on the beach. Hawaii luau stuff. Chad and his damn ukulele. All this picking Lori up like a child bride, a cheerleader being sprung in the air. Give me a break. He'd already had some of that nasty ass yeast infection gonorrhea woman. That's what he had. But he had such a little gherkin, it didn't matter. She was going to fake that she actually felt it to him. So that's all he cared about. That perhaps now that Lori was going, Chad is so good. Oh, yeah, right. She's a faker. She's faked her whole life. And Chad just needed a woman. He needed a woman to pretend that he had one. Yeah, y'all know it's true. You know it. You know it. Baratario. Someone needs me to spell her last name, so I'm going to do it. Let me find it. Audrey Baratario. Let me find you. We're all adults here, y'all. Come on. Can't KJ get a little raunchy? I don't know if Nate spelled it right either, but I'm going to give you his spelling. Baratiero. So there you go, whoever asked that. I'm in love with a man who just walked in the door. What did he bring me? What did he bring me? Let's see what Wayne brought OKJ, y'all. OMG, y'all. Look what a yeast roll. Let's see what he brought me, y'all. He brought me turkey and dressing, mashed potatoes and gravy, and homemade macaroni and cheese. Can y'all believe it? Come over here and say hi to everybody. Stick your head in.
Hello, everybody.
Here, put this up on there. I'll get it when lunchtime happens. Can y'all believe how wonderful my hubby is? He loves me so much. I didn't even ask him. And he did it. He did it, y'all. Do y'all think Mr. Wayne played a good Zulema on that skit with his black wig? I feel the fire. That was so cute. For those that saw that skit, you can find it on this channel of me and Mr. Wayne wearing wigs, acting like Lori and Zulema, doing their text castings. And then he goes, I'm getting tired, LOL. And he was supposed to say, I'm getting tired, and starts laughing, but he said, LOL. It was so funny.
I followed the script.
Oh, Jenny Benny, you got to go on there. Go on there. It's got, it says Ray Room Chat as the thumbnail. It's a short little vid. It's maybe, a minute and something. And it's a skit of, we took the actual text messages between Lori and Zulema while they're trying to text back and forth to get rid of Charles. Oh my gosh. What I did was my husband walked in. I said, here. I slapped the wig on him and I said, sit down. I didn't let him. And I had wrote it out in big letters. Here's yours, here's mine. And right in that moment, it was a cold skit, y'all. It was funnier than hell. And for those that didn't see it, you'll watch it more than once. Not because of me, but because of Wayne. It was so damn funny. He is. He's a good sport. He's a good man, Paula. Devo Bronk, it was absolutely, it was a skit about Lori and Zulema. It was pretty funny. Yes, he is, Badger. He is a keeper. We're waiting, y'all. It has been 30 minutes, and it's 1 minute past the time that they were going to be back. It is 10:41 a.m. in Boise. I don't get Wayne to do anything. He, after all these years, he's just been so good. Maybe I trained him. I don't remember. But I know I take good care of him too. I make sure to take care of him. He deserves it. We are CSI. We're good eggs. KJ might be scrambled eggs and he might be the hard-boiled egg. But the bottom line is we're good people. I think. We're real people. We're just like all of y'all, really, I would think. Just everyday people. Well, thank you, Hannah. I'm glad you're here. Citizen Cone, I'm not getting into all these accessories and stuff or doing live streams because I've always just used my phone. As I've told many of y'all before, I've got my phone sitting up on a shoebox now, and it's got a hole where I can stick my cord up through there, and then I got a cup sitting behind it. That's my technology. And my neck's fine. It don't hurt. It's just the way that's pointed. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should move it over just a tad. So my neck, but it don't hurt. So I don't know. Melissa Krantz, it's on the channel. If you'll look at the thumbnails, it looks like the Ray Room, which is a room that's got Ray Room Chat on it. The thumbnail does with some pictures of art, and it's like a minute and something. It's pretty funny. You'll laugh your ass off. Thank you, D. McGowan. Glad you're here. Yeah, Janae Jones. It's a fancy setup. It's called a Country Girl Fancy Setup. Yes, Amanda, I am. I am a redneck MacGyver. That's what I is. Astra's asking Wayne, does he got any single relatives in the UK? All of our people are from Tennessee. Yeah, Roxy says, I watched it more times than I care to admit. If you're having a bad day and the staleness and the creepy, well, it's not creepy, it's kind of just so silly, and you're having a bad day and you watch that, you will absolutely, it will change you forever. Terry Ward says, I'm a country girl. Thank you, Curly Shirley. Thank all of y'all for, anyone that talks good about my husband or my sons, I am your number one fan. I love people that love my family. And I'm sure you're the same way too. You want people to love your family too and say nice things about your family. Heather Strock says, I'm a country girl, grew up on a dirt road in Pennsylvania. Country bro at heart, says Bismo Funyuns. Oh, y'all are let me, hold on just a second. Sorry, y'all. Come here. Thank you so much. You're the best.
House metal to make me one.
Okay.
Back lady.
You let them load it, though. You're through it all
Oh,
that now.
Huh?
You don't pick up anything heavy. You let someone else do the work. You've earned it.
I love you, Steve.
See you after a while. All right. Sharon says, I'm a country girl, bush living in South Africa. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. This is taking so long, but we'll get back to it here in a minute. What? What? What do you want? Come here. Come here. This is Boogie. He's a very big cat, y'all. And he is the king of the jungle here. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. He weighs a freaking ton, y'all. Look at him. All right. Go back out there with. Go outside. Go on. He only came in because Wayne was here. He really likes Wayne more than he likes me. Okay. Again, I got 4 cats. It's Boogie, Chi-Chi, Tylee, and Mrs. Kitty. All right, we're back in the courtroom. Boyce is on the bench, and jurors are being brought back in. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all for putting up with that with OKJ. Again, we're live streaming out of my home with my technological advancements of a shoebox and a cup behind my Apple phone. You know it. You're getting the real deal here, folks. I remember when I got Tylee, and she was just a little kitten, and I showed all the rays about 2 years ago. I said, y'all, look, I named this kitten after Tylee, and now Tylee's a full-grown cat. Shows you how much time has gone by, huh? I hope so, Janelle Murphy. No, it isn't. The next witness is Fremont County Detective Vince Kakamanu. Kayakamu. Let me spell it. Kaiakakamanu. So guess what, y'all? Okay, JB and the country girl, I am, and I don't like high-dollar words. It's Fremont County Detective Vince, y'all. Because I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Lindsay Blake will be questioning him. Tina Reddington, I wouldn't be surprised. But he eats a lot. Boogie eats a lot. He does. So again, y'all, the next witness is Fremont County Detective Vince Kayakamanu. Keakamanu. So I'm just going to say Fremont County Detective Vince. And we have Lindsay Blake, y'all. She's going to be questioning Detective Vince here. Right, CAM. It's just Vince. It's just Vince. Because I don't think I can pronounce that name properly. Right? Who in the heck is this guy, says Amy Hill. Well, he's a Fremont detective. I guess you want to know what kind of testimony he's going to be providing? Guess what? We're all going to find out together, right? Now, Heather, he's in Fremont. Excuse me. Woo! I love you too, Amanda. Thank you, THX. Thank you, Roxy. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing better with my allergies. But I'm not allergic to cats. That was just a coincidence. Trust me, I've got 4 cats. I'm not allergic to the cats, but I'm assuming there could have been dust on his fur or something. That gets to me. Pollen, whatever. Thank you, Jenny Benny. Well, thank you, Amica Cream. I'm glad you're here. And I hope everybody remembers that there are a lot of really cool people in this live stream, and there's a lot of great comments that, number one, I could never think about. And so let's remember to look at those comments, because there's a lot of really brilliant people in here. A heck of a lot more. I mean, I care more what y'all got to say than what I've got to, but heck, I got to do the blow by blow. And it ain't KJ, really. It's Nate Eaton's tweets. So we're waiting on that. Yeah, that's right, Roxy. You are cool. God bless you too, Terry Ward. Don't make it a cult, Rowan, to you. We're not a cult here. Trust me, we're getting a bird's eye view of what a cult is. Heather Strock says, I'm allergic to cults. You know, when you meet somebody, a group of people, and all of a sudden you start sneezing, you better run the other way. Come on now, we're waiting, Lindsay Blake. Our fish fries this Saturday, so we've done a lot of the, getting ready for it in terms of the yard, all of the tables and chairs and everything's been cleaned up, and things are good to go for Saturday. Again, I do want to be with the Rays on Saturday at some point during the fish fry, as I've done every year since this channel's open. They remember old KJ and her fish fry. Billy Larcy says, I'm a country girl and I grew up on a dirt road across from a huge orange grove in Mims, Florida. Heather Strock, I'm a fish-eating woman. You get me some dang fried catfish. I'll tell you what, I'll eat some Captain D's too. All right, here we go, y'all. Detective Vince is over the detective division and worked as a supervisor over the patrol division. He's worked at the sheriff's office for 18 years. He and Helena Kayakamu, the dispatcher who testified earlier in the trial, are brother and sister. So y'all remember the 911 dispatcher? And I said I couldn't pronounce her name, but her name was Helena. Him and her sister and brother. And she was the dispatcher who testified earlier. But he is the supervisor over the patrol division, and he's worked in Fremont for 18 years in that position. Well, I don't know, THX, why Boyce wouldn't let them ask another question. I guess it would have just continued to go back and forth and back and forth. And maybe Judge Boyce said, the hell with this. I don't know. He's the administrator there. He's the one that calls, he's the referee in all this. So I think he should have let him ask the question. Anything more we could have got from Audrey Bartario after that testimony, I've been glad to hear it. Nothing yet, y'all. Nita Flynn says, I found your channel when you only had 19 subscribers. And you remember, Nita Flynn, I've said it over and over again. When I opened the channel, I was just looking for 20 or 30 people to help me along. Can y'all believe that? It really was never about the subscriptions, y'all. And obviously, there's been no monetization, never would be. This channel was not meant to stay open from here to eternity. It was just to cover this case. And I've always stuck to that, and I've always been upfront with everybody. Now, Detective Vincent, is that Vincent or Vince? Detective Vince says the night before Tammy Daybell died, he was assisting Idaho Falls Police with an officer-involved shooting. He got home around 4:30 a.m. on October 19th and fell asleep. When he woke up, he noticed a missed call from Deputy Greenhoff, who had previously testified in this trial. He called her back. Y'all remember Greenhoff was the deputy that came onto the scene initially when for the unattended death is what it was called. It was the murder, really. So Greenhoff told Detective Vince that she had already spoken with Detective Mattingly and the coroner was on the scene. Detective Vince had never heard of Tammy Daybell before this. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office began investigating the death at the end of October of 2019. So you got to ask the question, why is this Deputy Greenhall already called Mattingly, now calling this Detective Vince? I mean, it seems to me that there was something there that these people, well, at least this deputy thought, procedural-wise, all they had to do was call one person. Here she's calling two. So I don't know. I mean, it looks like maybe this Greenhoff person, this deputy that showed up over at Tammy's, thought something was weird. But we know how it ended up. Brenda Dye and her deputy coroner made a mistake. Thank you, Christina Hill. Now, Detective Vince explains how other police departments in Arizona and Idaho and the FBI got involved in the investigation into J.J. Tiley and Tammy and Charles. So, I think it was Kim, one of the Kims in here said, who is this and what's really they're going to be testifying about? I'm assuming that's what this is all about. He's here to explain how other police departments in Arizona, Idaho, and the FBI got involved in the investigation into J.J. Tiley, Tammy, and Charles. That's what I don't understand, Amanda and Matters. Those bruises were on Tammy, and I can't understand why the coroner and the deputy coroner could not have had. It doesn't make sense, y'all. Now, Detective Vince says he reviewed a text message Tammy Daybell sent to her son, Mark Daybell. Blake asked to admit a copy into evidence. Wonder what Tammy was telling her son, Mark Daybell, y'all. Wonder what she was saying to him. Wonder what it's about, y'all. Yeah, Jay, Justin Lum is the bomb. He's cool. I wish he could be here the whole time, but they say he's coming back at the end, near the end. So, y'all, Lindsay Blake is admitting into evidence a copy of a text message from Tammy Daybell sent to her son, Mark Daybell. Common sense says it's going to be damning, or at least have some kind of healthy inference toward the guilt of this hussy, i.e. Chad, i.e. Alex. Paula, I think you're right. Wasn't Mark out on the country on a mission? I think you're correct. Mark wasn't there. He was on a mission. Thank you for letting me know that, Paula. Yeah, Renee, I'm waiting too. It's not updated yet, but Michelle Wordle says South Africa. I think that's where it was. Tracy Kern says that Audrey Bartero came more clean. She is coming clean more than Melanie Gibb. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Everyone knows who's been on this channel for some time knows how I feel about Melanie Gibb. Miss Straluma says that Thomas is objecting, but I ain't seen it on here yet. So some of y'all are getting these blow-by-blows from other sources as well. So keep an eye on the comments, y'all, because they're letting you in on stuff too. That's sad, Paula. Mark Daybell couldn't get back in time for his own mother's funeral because Chad had to hurry up and be with his hussy, basically. That's right, somebody. Chad had to get Tammy in the ground. Not only in the ground, but in another state, too. All right. Thomas objects to the exhibit. It was admitted earlier in the trial, but has not been shown to the jury, and Boyce reviews the exhibit before making a ruling. So we're waiting on a ruling from Judge Boyce on whether, because it's already been admitted, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Boyce asked to have a sidebar with the attorneys. White noise is played in the courtroom. Okay. There should have been cameras in the courthouse. I think everyone should be able to see what evilness really is, y'all, so they can protect themselves down the road. Yeah, you're right. Another sidebar, another break, whatever it is. Can we not just move forward here? Y'all just hold on one second. We're in a sidebar with white noise. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm hungry. I dipped my yeast roll in mashed potatoes and gravy. Dang it. I don't mean to do this to y'all. But these dang homemade yeast rolls dipped in mashed potatoes and gravy is a bomb. I gotta eat, y'all. I do. I can't wait another hour. It's only 11:06 a.m. there in Boise. All right, so now Boyce overrules the objection and allows the text message in. All right, y'all, we're fixing to find out what Tammy texted her son, Mark Daybell. So why are you such a picky young man? Don't want no Captain Crunch, don't want no Raisin Bran. Well, don't you know that people are starving in Japan? So eat it. Just eat it. Just eat it. Eat it. Don't make me repeat it. Have some more yogurt and some more Spam. It doesn't matter if it's broiled or ham. Just eat it. Just eat it. Just eat it. That's right. Weird Al. You better do what you're told. You better eat all your tuna casserole. I don't know those songs. All right, come on. We want to know what the text message says. Tina Reddington, I want some of those scalloped potatoes. Okay? Go on, air ship them. Air ship them to old KJ. I need scalloped potatoes. A copy of the email, not the text message, is shown on the big screen in the courtroom. It was sent from tammy.daybell@gmail.com to Mark Daybell's missionary email account on October 13th of 2019, y'all. That was 6 days before Tammy died at 2:38 p.m. on October 13th of 2019. And she's sending her son something 6 days before she dies. So sad, y'all. Trace on the case is letting everybody know that the birthday girl, Cresha K. Easton of Difficult Research, Grace put it in the comments, the name of the YouTube channel. She's going to be going live later on tonight. Now, sometimes she doesn't put the announcement out for very long, so please keep an eye on it. When I see it, I'll post it on the community wall. But, folks, we got to hear from Cresha. Thank you, Badger. Thank you, Sugar Butt Starburst. Rosemary, I think the kids are just clinging on to their dad because he's all they've got left. I think they're in denial. I mean, maybe their views have changed. Thank you, Kawaii Mom. Thank you, Astra 0193. Amanda, work your fingers to the bone. What do you get? Bony fingers, bony fingers. I agree, Roxy. They don't want to see it the way it really is. Blake asked Detective Vince to read from the email, y'all. Now, on the same day I was coming home from clogging, it was at 9:15, and I backed into the driveway. I was getting some items out of the back seats. We had made freezer meals at Enrichment Meals. I looked up thinking it was Dad or Garth to help me carry stuff in. Nope. It was a guy with a ski mask on with a rifle pointed at me. Tammy says she asked the man what he was doing before realizing it was a paintball gun. So that's what she's talking to him about. It concerned Tammy, y'all. I should have known just by the date. The gun kept firing, but nothing was coming out. Tammy says she kept asking what the guy was doing. She said she thought about hitting him with her clogging shoes. Instead, she yelled, "Chad!" and the guy ran away. Tammy then wrote that she ran into the house to get Dad and Garth. Tammy wrote that Chad and Garth went outside to look for the shooter, but couldn't find him. They called the police, and Tammy says they believed the shooter was a bipolar teenager from down the street. Wonder whose idea that was. Blake now asks to admit a PowerPoint exhibit with information related to the Homer J. Maximus account that Alex owned this account. So, folks, anytime that we've seen a PowerPoint exhibit, it's been something, a bombshell. You know? So here we are. They're homing in. This is specifically about Tammy. The attempt on her life on October 9th of 2019. And now we've got Alex Cox. They're fixing to do a PowerPoint on his email account. Wonder what that's going to show. You're welcome, Amanda. Roxy says, I think what everyone in the chat is saying, we are here for the PowerPoint presentation. Y'all know these things really, really. And guess what, y'all? Thomas objects to the exhibit and says it's improper to have the detective read from a summary. And Blake says having the detective memorize the entire thing would not be possible. Of course, they don't want that PowerPoint exhibit up there. It's going to tell us something. It's going to be damning. Remember, y'all, Alex did nothing, absolutely nothing, without his sister knowing about it or her wanting him to do it. You know what's interesting about all these comments about, Chad wanting Tammy to die and Alex going over there and shooting at Tammy on October 9th and everything? What would have happened if he would have succeeded and murdered Tammy on October 9th with a gun that had a silencer on it? Do you think the police are that damn stupid to think that somebody just out of nowhere, a random person, is going to go over there and mow down a elementary school librarian? No. So Boyce overrules the objection and allows the PowerPoint in as a demonstrative exhibit. The first slide says Homer J. Maximus searches. I think this is probably going to shooting through a vehicle or something. Y'all remember that, Rays? What is it? He had some searches on Grindle Drop and stuff like that. We'll see what this, if that's what that is. And by the way, everyone on the stream, we've got about 45 minutes until they'll take their lunch, and I want y'all to know as I'm eating my turkey and dressing along with my mashed potatoes and gravy and my homemade macaroni and cheese, I'm going to be thinking of all of y'all. I really am. As I take every bite of that meal that my hubby brought for me, I'm going to think of all of y'all. And I'm going to eat it in your honor, okay? That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be hard to do, but OKJ will do it for all of you, okay? Okay, so the first slide says Homer J. Maximus searches. Come on. Come on. We want to know what's going on, y'all. Hey, ain't nothing better than homemade mac and cheese. We don't go to no dang fast foods. We got a mom and pop store about 15 minutes up the road. It's called First Chance Market. And they make everything homemade. Everything. Yes, they do. Yes, Diamond Eyes. I'm a biscuits and gravy eating woman. I'll tell you what, I grew up on it, and I'm going to die on it too. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy my life. I understand. If a doctor puts you on a dang diet and he says it's going to help you, then you do that. If you yourself decide you want to go on a diet to better yourself for whatever reason, whether it's weight, whether it's your sugar intake, your salt intake, whatever. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, OKJ's going to eat whatever I'm going to eat, and I'm just going to live with it. Now, Detective Vince says some of the searches stood out to him. On October 1st of 2019, Alex searched for directions to Mesa, Arizona from Gallup, New Mexico. That same night, on October 1st of 2019, at 7:52 p.m., he searched for a specific address on Phelps Street in Gilbert, Arizona. And guess where that was, y'all? This was where Brandon Boudreaux was living. And how would Alex Cox know where Brandon Boudreaux had just moved? See, Brandon Boudreaux had to tell Melanie Pulaski where he was living according to the custody arrangement at that time. There's no way Alex Cox could have found this information out unless Melanie Pulaski told him or told Lori and Lori told Alex. On October 2nd, that was the day before, October 2nd, he searched for directions on how to get to the same address at 7:17 a.m. This is the last time that Brandon Boudreaux's address, y'all, was searched. These people thought they were really funny. But this is damning about the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. What's more damning is seeing Alex, Lori, and Chad and the storage unit videos. So Arizona hasn't charged anybody, but I'll tell you one damn thing. This falls under 404B, prior bad acts, don't y'all think? The day before, y'all, Tammy is shot at. On October 8th of 2019, Alex searched for 6.5 Grendel drop from 100 yards to 200 yards. 6.5 Grendel drop from 100 yards to 300 yards. Detective Vince says he believes Alex was trying to figure out where to stand to have an accurate shot at Tammy Daybell. On October 9th of 2019, he searched for several different AR-15 uppers, muzzle energy of a 6.5 Grendel, and frog tog sizing for pants. Remember, we talked about those frog togs. Remember that? Now we know what this was in relation to. He, at some point, as far as Detective Vince is trying to relay, is this: Alex didn't want to be right there. He wanted to be from a distance. Obviously, he didn't figure it out because he was right there with her. So we know Alex Cox right there. And if anyone thinks that Alex Cox just decided to do this, Chad and Lori didn't know nothing about it, give me a break. Give me a break. Because we know, and it hadn't been brought out here, but the Rays on here know, it is actual factual evidence. October 7th, Lori's iCloud on October 7th took a picture with her phone of what? Ammunition sitting on a shelf. Lori was involved in this. She was getting her brother's supplies. She's helping her brother. And let's not forget, y'all. Yes, Alex left Arizona and he got like a little, one of those little loans or whatever. But you know Lori and Chad were financing the stuff. They wanted to get that $430,000 from Tammy's death, her murder. Now, Detective Vince says the searches were done on the Homer J. Maximus account, registered to Alex Cox, so we can't say for 100% certainty that it was Alex, but it was his account. Now, who else would have access to Alex Cox's account? Huh? It'd have to be somebody in Idaho, don't you think? It'd be Lori. Could be Chad, but it's Alex. I think anybody can deduce that. Again, they're saying that we can't say for sure that 100% certainty that it was Alex, but it was his account, and Nate Eaton adds, and it was his device. So not only would someone else have to have Alex's passwords, but they'd also have to have possession of his device as well. So again, logical deduction here, it was Alex Cox. Mr. Protector. Mr. Protector of his hussy sister. Dodgy Bullets, I don't think it would have been Melanie Gibb. Melanie Gibb wouldn't have had Alex's device. I think it was Alex. I mean, if it was anyone other than Alex, it would have been Lori. But think about this. Alex was one of them ones that went to these gun ranges. He owned guns. He had all those guns. Well, I mean, how would Lori or anyone really be able to say, I need to know how many yards to shoot away from somebody or something like that using this type of ammo? It was Alex, y'all. It was Alex. Yeah, Debbie McLean, I think Alex had an unnatural affection for his sister. And I wouldn't be surprised if they done some weird stuff, considering that they could be anybody they wanted to in their past lives. On October 10th, y'all, the day after Alex missed shooting Tammy Daybell, there were several searches about AR-15, using it in cold weather, and how to use it. He also did a YouTube search on shooting an AR-15 in 30-degree weather. Why do I keep saying doctor? Detective Vince says it was 26 degrees in Fremont County on this particular day. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. It was Alex, y'all. Yeah, and Gibson. Yes, I believe that. When me and the Rays went over John Glatt's book, which some of y'all that are interested in this case, he's got an excellent book along with Leah Sottle. We went over these books that came out, and he brought into frame, basically, through his research, their upbringing and everything. Folks, and not all families have this perfect, healthy thing. I'm sure many of us have had dysfunction in our upbringing, but that you don't grow up to murder people. The bottom line is yes, there was absolutely dysfunction in that family. So 3 days after Alex missed in shooting Tammy, there were several other Google searches performed regarding guns, firearms, and ammunition. There was also a search about a Dodge Dakota. The Daybells had a 2004 Dodge Dakota. Now that makes sense now, y'all. And Tammy drove the Dakota. The searches were in relation to what it would take to shoot through a vehicle. So all this time, Rays, that when we saw that search where shooting through a 2004 Dodge Dakota, I thought that was in relation of Brandon Boudreaux's attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life, that maybe he was just checking it out because he was going to be shooting out a vehicle at Brandon Boudreaux. But now we know, and maybe some of y'all already had known this, he was talking about shooting into a 2004 Dodge Dakota, which was what Tammy drove. And it says the searchers were in relation to what it would take to shoot through a vehicle. So there you go. Not only is he trying to figure out ways to shoot from a distance, he's trying to figure out about the temperatures and weather on shooting out of an AR-15 using Grendel drop ammunition Also now he's wanting to see if he can do this by shooting her through while she's driving up or whatever. Now, Detective Vince says Alex Cox visited Fremont County Sportsman's Club on October 7th, 8th, 12th, 13th, and 15th. The person who signed in was C. Quint. Side note, Alex loved Captain Quint from the movie Jaws. So if y'all remember that movie, the original movie Jaws, C. Quint was that crazy fisherman that took dude out to get the Jaws, you know. But anyway, the person who signed in was C. Quint. Who else would have actually done that? It points to Alex Cox altogether. And not to mention they've got GPS on him too. Good morning, Sylvia. Yeah, dodging bullets. It was when C. Quint said, so many men went out in the water. December 1923, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, that was crazy. Eyes roll to the white, says Monica Dawn. A couple of matches short of book. Those were the good old days when movies actually scared us. Now they got a bunch of crazy stuff. Now, I don't watch horror movies. I don't. I just don't do it. Detective Vince says firearms found in Lori's garage were seized for evidence. They have been kept at the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and are now being held as evidence in Boise. Interesting, isn't it, Nita Flynn? If Tammy was dark, if she had the spirit Viola in her and she had to die. Oh, yeah, well, they gave her a really nice funeral, didn't they? But they sure didn't do that for those kids. And they didn't really do, Lori didn't do right with Charles Vallow at all, with his ashes and everything. Lindsay Blake asked to admit 2 photos of the firearms. Now, she could be admitting these because the firearms give shock value for jurors to look at, but it would be really nice if she's admitting 2 photos of firearms, and in those photos, there's an actual firearm that they could say was tied to the attempt on Brandon's life or the attempt on Tammy's life. But I don't guess that's going to happen. Yes, Margot Jones, there is. There's tons of evidence against Alex, which this goes back to many people saying that Alex was supposed to be the scapegoat and that Lori or Chad could, get off of the charges here because there'll be that reasonable doubt of Alex Cox. Make no mistake, y'all. There's enough evidence there to show not only Alex's involvement, but it shows quite clearly that Alex was being led around by his sister and Chad Daybell. If the jurors didn't get an earful about Chad and Lori having a nice little crying little prayer blessing thing from Chad Daybell, you know it. You know it. There's enough evidence to show Alex would have never done this without his sister and Chad. Now, Thomas says rather than having photos of the firearms, he wants the actual guns brought into the courtroom. He wants the jury to see the firearms. Okay. That's so stupid. Why would a defense attorney want the jurors to see the actual firearms in the courtroom? I mean, come on, y'all. The only thing that, I mean, and I'm trying to put a defense attorney's hat on here. Maybe seeing them in real life, it might look like, well, could you imagine someone like Lori picking something like that up? Or what? I don't know. It's all sensationalized, says Dodging Bullets. It's so stupid. Stall tactics, says Nita Smith. Denise Detilio says, like Murdahl trial there. Amica Cream says to prove it didn't look like a paintball gun. That's a good point there, Amica Cream. Great point. Happy Go Ducky says to show that they don't actually have the weapon. Huh. You know, that was involved. Allison Rochelle says, yep, stalling. Okay, so Judge Boyd says he'll take the objection under advisement. We'll allow the photos in at this point. If the defense wants the guns brought in, they're welcome to do it during their portion. And that's what he should have been saying when they wanted the podcast, 40 minutes of it yesterday played. Judge Boyce could have said yesterday, I'll take that under an advisement, but guess what? You can bring this up when you do your portion of Lori's defense. But no, Judge Boyce let it in yesterday on the podcast. But today, he's going to, he says if the defense wants the guns brought in, they're welcome to do it during their portion of Lori's defense. And Thomas says he plans to do so. Woo! John Thomas plans to bring them guns in there. Give me a break. How stupid. Oh, it's a lot like when John Thomas tried to bring in an exhibit yesterday but then changed his mind at the last minute. Oh, we withdraw the exhibit we want to enter. Yeah, right. He don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. So stupid. Now, Lindsay Blake shows a photo on the screen. There are two firearms on the image. One of them is a 6.5 Grendel. When Tammy Daybell fire called in the attempted shooting, she described the rifle as a paintball gun. After looking at all the firearms, this one stuck out because it had a larger scope on it, which could be mistaken for a hopper, which Tammy described. A hopper is on a paintball gun. And I think one of y'all had said that in the comments earlier. So, I was wrong about 6.5 Grendel. I thought that was a form of ammo. I'd never heard of that one before. But, again, they're looking at those photos and saying, basically, this firearm in these photos look like a paintball gun. Lainey, I think so too. I think it had a silencer on it. Several of those guns had threads at the end. So, that means you can screw one on. Detective Vince describes his background with paintball guns and AR-15s, and Blake asked for a brief sidebar. Right, Amica Cream. Tammy might have not even came up with that. It could have been, she could have explained it to Chad and Garth, and they could have said, well, it's probably that bipolar kid down the street with his paintball gun. So, I mean, we don't have confirmation that Tammy even knew what a paintball gun looked like or a rifle would look like. She don't strike me as the type that would know that. But, you know, yeah, PJ Key says, I imagine Tammy heard some clicking. The bottom line is that didn't go well for old Alex Cox, did it? I bet he shit himself. Suppressors aren't silencers, and Alex was too stupid to figure out the right ammo weapon combo to suppress most of the sound, says Devo Bronk. You're right, Tina Reddington. Who knows what Tammy saw she's not here to say. I get that. But haven't you always known OKJ to kind of give a little theory there? Come on now, Tina, give me a break. I'm trying to figure this out just like everybody else. It was probably a homemade silencer, says Kathy Barella. And G.J. Journey says maybe that's why Alex went to the gun range. Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were saying, Tina. I apologize. I thought you were talking about that. You were talking about Thomas. Okay. I apologize. It's called miscommunication. It happens a lot with OKJ. You know, I absolutely don't always have the answer, and I sure as hell can't hold a candle to old Tina Reddington. She's got a lot of the answers, I think, don't you, Tina? He must have been close if Tammy was talking to him, says Amanda Metters. Right? Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Tina. Donna Krantz says you're forgiving, KJ. Oh, Tina, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'll tell y'all something really wild. Last night, Tina Reddington and I were on another live feed, and I had brought up there I was having some ginger ale, and she said she was having some at the same exact time, and then she said the brand of it, and it was exactly the same as what I was having, and I thought to myself, damn. Now, the sidebar is over, and Detective Vince is shown a photo of an example of a paintball gun. Blake asked to admit the photo as a demonstrative exhibit. Thomas objects and says the image is inflammatory. It's not the gun used the night Tammy was shot at, and it's prejudicial to admit. No, it's not. But even if they don't admit it, y'all, most of these jurors probably know what a paintball gun looks like. I think most people would, don't y'all think? I can see why the state wants to show the jury why Tammy would confuse it with a paintball gun. Right, Becky. Tammy would have thought it was anything other than being hunted. Of course she would have thought it would have been something, something that wasn't going to kill her ass. Jay, the prosecution does have access to the actual guns that Alex Cox used, but whether or not any of those guns have been determined to have actually been the one that shot at Tammy, I see what you're saying on that. For all we know, Alex could have gotten rid of that gun. Hell, it didn't do the job on the October 9th of 2019. And how were they going to find out which gun it was if they went over there that one time, remember y'all, after all this, and used the metal detector looking for slugs and shell casings, and they never found anything? How are they going to match anything up? No dodging bullets. JJ was not running around with a paintball gun. I guarantee you that. Right, Big Stakes. Alex had an arsenal of firearms. Again, they have nothing to compare it to other than what they're trying to say now is well, of all these firearms that we confiscated of Alex Cox's, These kind of look like a paintball gun. They're not saying this is the gun that shot at Tammy. They're not saying that. They're just trying to let the jurors understand why she thought it might have been a paintball gun. But then when you have these, you add the component of Alex shooting through a Dodge Dakota and all this other stuff, then it wasn't a paintball gun. If that makes sense. Wasport says, ginger ale reminds me of being sick as a kid. Daily Book Dose says, I don't think I would be able to determine a paintball versus a real gun. I have thought BB guns were real before, and I'm 50 years old with no brothers and a nerdy dad. So you're making a great point. There could be jurors sitting on the jury box that don't know what a paintball gun looks like. You're correct. There, we don't know who's sitting on the jury. So that's a great point. Yep, dodging bullets. That's what Miss Tina Reddington and I was drinking on last night. Right, Mohawk Mom. You also have Alex searching a specific weapon. It'd be different if his searches included paintball guns, right? Well, Donald Krantz, I just had ginger ale. I wasn't doing no drinker last night. Now, Detective Vince now testifies about the email sent from Charles to Tammy, where Charles said he was aware that their spouses were cheating on each other. Charles asked to meet with Tammy to discuss it. Detective Vince was able to determine never able to determine whether Tammy read the email. The email from Charles to Chad was sent on the same day. Charles told Chad he needed to stop talking to Lori and he needed to tell Tammy what was going on. Dodging bullets, honey, let me tell you, I still have a hard time. But I really appreciate that that walk down memory lane that you've just reminded me of. I think the Rays helped me a whole lot. And I will always be forever in all of the Rays' debt for everything they've done to be there for me. It's personal. Now, Detective Vince says he requested a Google geofence warrant for information on October 18th and 19th at the Daybell's property and the LDS church near Chad's house. Now, Google geofence warrant, meaning they're going to look at it, right? Isn't that what a geofence? Somebody tell me what a Google geofence warrant is. Yeah, Wasport. Cresha's really bloomed, hasn't she? She's done great. Somebody tell me what a geofence warrant is. A Google geofence warrant. Come on, guys. You know, OKJ ain't got all the answers. A Google geofence warrant. All the cell phones in that area. It's a sweep of all cell numbers and pinged off the tower, says Chico's mummy. Anyone asking about being a Ray, you can be a Ray if you think you are. And you have your own thoughts, you don't have to do anything to earn it. You know, as long as you're researching, analyzing, and being yourself, you can be a Ray. That's it. Be yourself. It allows them to check all their databases, says Tracy Taylor. A warrant to search all cell phones within a perimeter. A warrant to collect cell phone data, says Illegally Blonde. Okay, Rosemary Romero says it's a search for devices in the area. Beach Lady, to search all active mobile devices. Thank y'all so much. Now, Google responded to the warrant with 4 identification numbers. Detective Vince served another warrant to learn who the identification numbers were associated to. And Detective Vince learned that the identification numbers did not have anything to do with his investigation. Damn. Dang it. Debbie McLean says vehicles have GPS in them too. Yeah, the OnStar and all that, y'all. I learned a lot of that when I was dipping in to the Alex Murdaugh trial. I didn't know that. I've always been open to learning stuff every day about new things, because once you stop wanting to learn, you stop growing. I don't want to become stagnant. Butterbean says we will get justice. So there were 4 identification numbers, and none of them had to do with his investigation. So why even bring it up, y'all? Why even bring it up? Why waste our time? Let's look at stuff that's relevant here. Somebody says I'm a lifelong learner here. Nita Flynn, some people have asked that question. Why would Alex buy so many guns? Well, he thought he was going to be one of these warrior leaders of the 144,000. He was going to be the protector of Chad and Lori as they ruled their new kingdom as the Church of the Firstborn. And he was probably going to give some of these guns to his new toadies. But even if you don't want to believe that, how about this? Maybe Alex bought all those guns to compensate over the fact that he didn't have a damn dick. Sorry. On another warrant. Sorry, y'all. On another warrant, there was a hit on a device associated to Alex Cox at the LDS Salem Church from 10:07 p.m. to 11:45 p.m. on October 18th of 2019. At 11:53, the device for Homer J. Maximus was later picked up on Wi-Fi 7 minutes away from the Salem Church. Again, this is a window of time. What the heck's he doing there? Was he waiting there thinking that maybe Tammy would drive by and he'd shoot through her Dodge thing? Or was he there to get out and leave his phone in there? Or did he drive down to Chad's? What? This doesn't make sense. Monica Don, the church is 2.5 miles away. None of the geofence warrants showed Chad Daybell's activities. Chad had told many people he was home the night Tammy died, but none of his devices showed up in the area during the time frame. Y'all, am I reading this right? None of the geofence warrants showed Chad Daybell's activities. Chad had told many people he was home the night Tammy died. But none of his devices, Chad Daybell's devices, showed up in the area during the time frame. It doesn't make sense to me, y'all. What's this saying? His phone is not at his home? His phone is not in the area at all? What, did he turn the damn thing completely off and put it into airplane mode? Because if it wasn't there, they would have been able to see that it was over there screwing Lori at the apartment complex or wherever. Olive Heatley says it was probably turned off. I don't understand what they're trying to show on this. Means that he was a chicken, that Alex did this alone? Yeah, but if Chad left his home and there's no activity at all, I don't understand where they're going with this. It don't make sense to me, y'all. I know it's because I'm having to read this and I'm not letting it sink in. Let me just say this one last time. None of the geofence warrants showed Chad Daybell's activities. Chad had told many people he was home that night. Tammy died. But none of his devices show up in the area during the time frame. Detective Vince says Chad Daybell was the beneficiary of all of Tammy's life insurance policies. All of the policies were paid out. Chad currently faces 2 counts of insurance fraud in Fremont County. Blake suggests breaking for lunch and moving forward after lunch, back around 12:50. Okay, y'all. So it's lunchtime. Let's all get some food. We'll get back together. I'll try to let this sink in. Give it an hour. I love you all. Thanks for joining this morning. We'll get back this afternoon. And keep on looking, y'all.